first day of the 2023 season finale here at the Portland International Raceway is done. Ready to roll in here to Saturday's action. 2 more races today, 2 more tomorrow for both USF 2000 and USF Pro 2000. As we know, we capped things off, crowned a champion in Simon Sykes in USF 2000 yesterday. Still a title to be done here, though, in USF Pro 2000. We'll see if Miles Rowe can get it done. Joining me today, a couple of drivers who are sure to be highlights here at Portland as we go into race number 2. We'll start with Thomas Schrag from Exclusive Autosport. Your second weekend here in the USF 2000 program. It was a tough one at Mid-Ohio. Didn't qualify well, but you fought your way back forward. You're fast here. You're qualifying well. You're going to start near the front.
Yeah, I would say I'm just happy I qualified this time. Mid-Ohio, we didn't get to qualify, so starting around 20th every race was very hard, but we came away with 2 top 10s. Very happy with that. This weekend we've had pace. Practice was really good. Topped one of the sessions, so just looking forward to the last 2 races this weekend. And then, I want to say congrats to Simon Sykes because most people don't know, but he was my driver coach for 2 years. So I have a special connection with him, and I'm, just proud to see him move up. So
I think one of the key things for you, Thomas, obviously Mid-Ohio is a track you've been on before, right, when we raced there. You come here, and everybody's essentially on the same playing field, right? There's no testing in Portland. Nobody drives all the way across the country to test. Are you feeling that maybe you're rolling in here on more of a level playing field?
Yeah, I would say so. Although I have limited time in the car, I've been impressive, I would say. Just haven't had the results that I want.
Overall, you're going to be starting well. I think P4, I believe, today, a start from. Where are you feeling you need to be? What's the expectations for race number 2?
Yeah, well, if I can get to the inside today, I couldn't yesterday. So, it's always a disaster in turn 1. So we'll see how it goes. If I make it through turn 1, I should be fine.
Let's move over to Nikita Johnson here right now for VRD Racing. A very impressive run. Made his USF Pro 2000 debut at the Circuit of the Americas. Ended up winning there, the youngest ever winner, and the first driver as well to win in all 3 levels, USF Juniors, USF 2000, and USF Pro 2000. Double duty this weekend. You're running USF 2000 and USF Pro. Really didn't get much chance after the wreck in race number 1. Whose idea was that, to try to do all these laps? You're going to be doing 55 laps today.
Yeah, it was more Dan's idea. Once he saw that, I was doing well at COTA, which we knew that I was going to get a top 5, maybe top 3, but we didn't really expect too much to win, so that was a big one. After that, we were like, why don't we go and do double duty so we can go try to, get second in the championship and then do some Indy Pro. But, yeah, I really want to congratulate Simon Sykes. I mean, been racing with him all year, a lot of respect, and he very deserved this championship.
We're going to be going back-to-back with USF 2000 and USF Pro 2000 races today. Nikita, let's start with the USF 2000. Simon's got the championship locked, but you're not done with that battle for second. What are your thoughts going into this one?
My thoughts are to get as many points as possible. Yesterday we beat Mac and Lockie, so those are who we're racing against in the championship, and we just need to keep on doing that the rest of the weekend. It would be nice to get some podiums, but at this point, all I need to do is beat them and get good points. I'm not going to try to take too big of a chance on, maybe second or third at the very end of the race, but, we just need to get good points this weekend.
25 laps in the USF 2000 car, then you get out of that and jump right into the USF Pro car. Like I said, the incident that happened yesterday in the race, you weren't able to get rolling and get all those 55 laps in. First, let's talk about the chaos from race number 1 in USF Pro yesterday. What were your thoughts going in there? You made a good move. Looks like Danny Dzelski maybe got just a little too hot in there.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. It's his first week in this. I'm not too mad at him. It's just a little bit of a bummer. I saw Kiko and Michael go on the inside, go too wide, so I went outside, tried to outbrake them. Did the switchback, came in, and then I just didn't expect Danny because he was on the white line. I saw him hit the bump on the replay, and he just was along for the ride. So it sucks, but we're going to try to do something different this race, hopefully not get hit. And I think once we make it through turn 1, we got a good chance of winning the race.
You were able to win at the Circuit of the Americas, obviously your first weekend. How does that change your expectations coming into this weekend? Is it still about learning for next year, or are you trying to win every race already?
I'm trying to win every race. I mean, I know I can compete with them. I competed with them last year in USF 2000. And, giving me winning at COTA gave me a big confidence boost. And, here I think I have the car to win. I think I'm a good enough driver to go win here. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, both these drivers definitely have the talent to win here today. They're going to start near the front, as we know. Getting through the opening corners, festival curves, is what the key is for this race. We saw yesterday the chaos in both the categories. If they can get through cleanly, both Thomas or Nikita could find themselves on top of the podium. When we get back after this break, I'll give you the full driver lineup for USF 2000. Welcome back to Portland International Raceway as the drivers here in the USF 2000 presented by Cooper Tires set to roll out for the second of 3 races. Again, we'll cap things off tomorrow afternoon after the Grand Prix of Portland IndyCar main event. But we do have 19 drivers on the grid getting set to go. About 4 minutes away from the command of fire engines. So all good and ready to go with these young drivers out here. Let's get started with the driver starting at the tail of the field. She made her debut in USF Juniors last week, or a couple of weeks ago at Road America. This is her USF 2000 debut weekend. Ava Dobson from Franklin, Wisconsin for Jay Howard Driver Development. Just testing the waters here this weekend to get comfortable here at the track at Portland. More seat time for Ava. She'll be back for a full USF Juniors program in 2024. Juniors, our first level of the USF Pro Championships. Moving down to row number 9 on the outside, it will be Carson Etter out of California, the number 57 for DC Autosport. Watch for Carson to work his way forward. He'll start alongside Gordon Scully out of Chicago, Illinois for VRD Racing in the number 19. Row 8 will have the Brazilian Lucas Facuri on the outside in the 11 for D-Force Racing. And on the inside, Elliot Cox in the Sarah Fisher Hartman Racing Development Machine. They had a big wreck yesterday, got the car fixed for the main event. He was able to race his way up to 10th. We'll look for Cox to try to attack forward over this 25-lap race. Going now to row number 7 on the outside in the number 12, Maxwell Jamison out of Houston, Texas for D-Force Racing. He'll start alongside Jay Howard Driver Development pilot number 7, Al Morey out of Indiana in the number 13, or rather in the 13th position. Row 6, 11th and 12th on the outside out of Hoboken, New Jersey, starting 12th for VRD Racing, the 33 of Max Taylor. And on the inside, the driver who rolls into the weekend here, these races sit in second place in points. They can't catch the newly crowned champion, Simon Sykes, but there's definitely a battle still for second, third, and fourth in the championship. I'm talking about Lockie Hughes, the Australian in the number 8 for Jay Howard Driver Development. Parents actually here this weekend, not having to watch the coverage. Great to have that family with us here with Lockie. He'll start at the inside alongside Taylor. Into the top 10 right now. On the outside will be George Garcia Arce, the Mexican for D-Force Racing in the number 10. And on the inside, Ethan Ho out of Los Angeles, California for D-Force Racing. Almost a full season in USF Juniors, but ready to dial things in for USF 2000 next year. Ho, again, running for DC Autosport. Row number 4, Sam Corey on the outside from Cornelius, North Carolina in the number 14 for VRD Racing. A winner last year in USF Junior, scored a victory earlier this year on the road course at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Corey's going to roll off from 8th. Alongside him, his teammate Nikita Johnson. Not only a winner in USF Juniors last year, a winner in USF 2000 this season, and a winner last weekend as well in the USF Pro 2000 category. Nikita Johnson, the number 17, incredibly impressive. Go to row number 3 now. USF Juniors champion from last year in the number 6, or rather 1 machine, rather, for D-Force Racing out of Campbellville, Ontario, Canada. That is Mac Clark. Was able to win here last year in his debut in USF 2000 here in Portland. Already a win this season on the Oval Indianapolis Raceway Park, and 2 podium finishes last weekend at the Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas, when he jumped up and sampled the USF Pro 2000 category. So watch for Matt Clark to be good here today. He'll start alongside Evagores Papasavas, winner on the season as well. Papasavas comes in 4th place in points for Jay Howard Driver Development. A podium yesterday, P2. Expect him to work his way forward as well. Thomas Schrag, who joined us in the pre-show out of Ohio in the exclusive Autosport number 9. He could be a driver to watch here as well. Level playing field for him and all the other drivers. No track time, no practice or testing time here on the West Coast. So he kind of rolls in here more on the level playing field for those who have run a lot more races. Schrag made his debut at Mid-Ohio back in July, on July 4th weekend, and now looks to try to get a solid result here, potential podium for exclusive Autosport. Inside of that row, just 14 years of age, Max Garcia out of Coconut Grove, Florida, in the number 24 for Pabst Racing. Pabst Racing first, second, and third. Simon Sykes, your new champion, on the outside, the number 22, and Jacob Douglas from New Zealand in the 23 scored his first win of his USF Pro Championships career yesterday. We'll try to do it again here today. It is time to fire things up with Douglas and Sykes on the front row. 19 drivers ready to fire up their elite engines. It's time to get things underway. Let's head down to pit lane for the command of fire engines from one of our guests from Discount Tire, Cameron Fournier.
On behalf of everyone at Discount Tire, drivers, start your engines.
There you have it. Engines coming to life down on pit lane. You get all these drivers with the same MCR 2-liter power plants, 170 horsepower, elite engines out of Wisconsin, building all of these engines. That company, of course, owned, operated, and managed, as it has for many, many years, by the 1998 Indianapolis 500 Rookie of the Year, Steve Knapp. His son Logan Knapp, of course, big part of the program as well, and cousin Mike Knapp, part of it. The family operation, building all the engines for USF Juniors, USF 2000, and USF Pro 2000. Again, Jacob Douglas looking to see if he can't capitalize on that win yesterday, his first victory of his career here in USF Pro Championships competition. We know the family down in New Zealand was watching yesterday. I'm sure they're back on to watch again today, as this young driver with the potential to start in the front row for all 3 races. Will he be able to sweep the weekend? How big would that be to cap the season off and roll into the offseason cleanly? Joining me in the booth here today as the drivers have rolled out down into the racetrack here, one of the drivers from USF Juniors, Brady Golan from D-Force Racing. He was a rookie this year in the juniors category. Brady, thanks for joining me in the booth. We did this back at Sebring earlier in the year. That was 5 months ago.
That's crazy.
It is, isn't it? How does it feel capping off your first season of USF Juniors?
I feel like I learned so much. It feels incredible to finish my first season. I'm really excited for next year, doing juniors again, and I'm excited.
You know, we had your championship-winning teammate Nicholas Giaffoni in here as well. We're going to have Quinn Armstrong come and join us a little later as well here from D-Force Racing. Jack Jeffers, a top 3 driver of the championship for Exclusive Autosport, will be up in the booth. We're grabbing our USF Juniors to come to spend some time with us up here. Let's talk about the tracks themselves. You guys ran some fantastic facilities: Sebring, VIR, Road America, Mid-Ohio. I know you really enjoyed Barber Motorsports Park. Is that one that you're circling on the calendar for next year?
For sure. Barber has been my favorite track I've ever driven. I'm so excited to go back there. I hope I do for the rest of my life.
We're going to come back to Brady Golan here throughout the day. Just 15 years of age and running for D-Force Racing in USF Juniors. Excited to see what he's able to do in his second year in that program. Will surely be a front runner. Getting things underway. Drivers ready to roll here right now as Simon Sykes and Jacob Douglas will be on the front row. For Sykes, that championship already done. That huge weight lifted off his back as one driver is slowing down. That is Thomas Schrag, an Exclusive Autosport driver, slow on the racetrack. He had an issue yesterday, and he is potentially going to come to a stop. Thomas Schrag, who joined us on the pre-show. Okay, gets it refired. So not sure what happened there with Thomas Schrag, but he has refired. I assume we may be able to go back to green flag racing. He's still slow coming down the back straightaway. We'll see what happens with Thomas. Some kind of an intermittent issue with maybe electronically for him. Field otherwise set up. Douglas and Sykes, row 1. Garcia and what's supposed to be Schrag on row 2. Field set, and away we go. Green, green, green. Racing down into turn number 1. Can they get through the festival chicane cleanly? Two drivers cutting through the area that straight off in through the cut through. They'll have to come back on cleanly. Otherwise, everybody else, well done coming through 1, 2, and now 3. Everybody kind of lining up a little bit further back. Top 5, 6, 7 drivers lining up, coming through 4, now 5. A little bit of side-by-side action, a little bit further back. But again, a tough start there for Thomas Schrag. Not sure what it was with the number 90 Exclusive Autosport machine, but was slowing, as we said. Here they come through for the first time, and indeed he is done. Full course yellow we're likely going to see here momentarily. He stopped on the back straightaway. They have not yet pulled the full course, but I assume coming down the back chute through the final couple of corners. In fact, yeah, there's the yellow right there. Full course yellow already. I was going to say they can't wait to the back straightaway. He is dead stick midway through the back straightaway. Yellow flag flying, and that is Thomas Schrag, we believe, off. That's what we're being told here by race control. That is a shame for Thomas. Man, that is horrible. He was looking forward to a good run. Did not have a good qualify. Actually, didn't qualify at all. Had an issue at Mid-Ohio. Started deep in the field, 18th, 19th, but rolled his way up into the top 10 in those races. He was looking for a cleaner one here, starting P4. So one more race tomorrow for Thomas Schrag. Not an opportunity. And Brady, let's come to you on this one. As we were walking over here, I can't even come to you with the experience of not being able to finish a race because we were kind of doing the math, looking through the results. You may be the only driver in USF Juniors to have finished every lap, completed every lap of the 2023 season. When it comes to trying to get as much experience as you can, that's crucial.
For sure. I mean, it's a great achievement that I completed this year. I feel very happy and proud of that fact, and yeah.
Hey, lap time's key, right? So Thomas Schrag stopping on the track. He was slowing coming through, and very luckily did not get collected by some of the other drivers as they were kind of rolling out there to come back to the green flag. So indeed, Schrag, they'll try to drag him back potentially to pit lane. Maybe they can make some adjustments or find out what is wrong with the car electronically, mechanically, and maybe get him back out onto the racetrack and get the lap times he needs to be ready to go back at it again for the race tomorrow afternoon, because still 2 more races, 1 each for USF 2000 and USF Pro 2000 after the IndyCar race tomorrow. So if you're hanging out and watching the IndyCar race, you don't need to jump into your car. You don't need to climb into the traffic to get out of the racetrack here. Just sit down, grab yourself another cold drink, and enjoy yourself as you can, again, check out the future stars of the NTT IndyCar Series here in this USF Pro Championships. Yesterday, able to crown a champion in this category, Simon Sykes, as I said, of Athens, Georgia, able to get the title there. We're potentially locking down another champion in the race that follows USF 2000. USF Pro 2000 will get set to roll out, and the driver looking to get the championship is Miles Rowe. He will become the first African-American to win a open-wheel championship, and we'll see what happens today. He's had such a consistent season, 5 wins on the program, so there's an opportunity for him to come away with a big championship that would send him to the Indy Next Series with a scholarship from Discount Tire and Anderson Promotions worth over $633,000. That's the scholarship, and a big part of this program we have here, the USF Pro Championships. Every level, a scholarship amount that will help make you move up to the next rung on the ladder. There you see Thomas Schrag getting the tow. And indeed, mechanical or electrical, I would expect they'll just bring him back down pit lane. There'll be an opportunity to potentially diagnose what's wrong with the number 90 and get him back out onto the racetrack. But indeed, another time around here, I'm sure that we'll go green. When we come back around, it'll be a single file restart. Let's have a look how things shook out there. As we know, we try to let them run after a yellow for a number of corners to see what happens in terms of dialing things in. Jacob Douglas looks to be like able to take that top spot coming out cleanly through. We saw a couple of drivers make the cut through. Not exactly sure which drivers those were, but looks to be like Max Garcia slotting up into second. Simon Sykes into third. Matt Clark fourth. Evagores Papasavas in the 5th spot. 6th, Nikita Johnson. 7th, George Garcia Arce. 8th is Ethan Ho. 9th, Lockie Hughes. And 10th, Sam Corey. 11th, Al Morey. 12th, Max Taylor. 13th, Elliot Cox. 14th and 15th, Gordon Scully and Maxwell Jameson. Lucas Facuri in 16th, another one of our young USF juniors drivers who is dipping his toes in the water here in USF 2000 this weekend. Carson Eder, 17th. Ava Dobson, 18th. And as we know, Thomas Schrag not yet able to complete a lap. Jacob Douglas, again, looking, as I said, to potentially try to see if he can't grab his second win. Got that first victory yesterday. Such a relief for a young driver who has not yet won in 2 years of competition, but capping off his sophomore season here in USF 2000 with a major victory. So, indeed, folks, I've said this before. So, for Miles Rowe, he's going to be, obviously, if he can win this championship, the first ever African-American. I know that sometimes we've said a young black driver, but, of course, obviously Lewis Hamilton's got a couple of accolades throughout his career. But the first African-American could be Miles Rowe here today out of Brooklyn, New York. And it's been such a story for Miles, the whole program that was able to bring him into the series. Roger Penske and his program for quality and change. They wanted to bring a young driver in. Ernie Francis, of course, running with the Force Indy team right now in Indy Next. But the Force Indy team happening a couple of years ago, a single car effort in USF 2000. Miles kind of discovered to a certain extent by Will Power at a track down in Mooresville, North Carolina, a karting facility, able to get a chance to come and run. And we're going to see that event happen momentarily. It's going to be fun after we're done with USF 2000 to see whether or not Miles Rowe can do it, or Kiko Porto can potentially keep closing up. Back to green flag once again, and we are rolling. So back at it. Again, the run down into turn number 1. Oh, contact from behind, and a driver's gone around. Contact from behind coming in. That's Max Garcia, who gets tagged in the back. You wonder whether or not Simon Sykes got into the back of his teammate, was right with him, I think, coming into the braking zone. So Sykes may have gotten into the back of Garcia, who potentially checked up a little bit. Sykes works his way into second. That's going to move Matt Clark up into third. So Garcia, who was hoping to try to get up onto the podium after an issue yesterday dropped him to the tail of the field, now finds himself, again, falling back deeper in the pack. I don't think he did go all the way to the very back. You wonder if there's any damage to the number 24 Advanced Auto Parts Pabst Racing machine, but he'll keep digging. We'll have a look at the replay here of what happened coming down. You're going to see the straight shot coming in. And indeed, I have a feeling it's just contact from behind and maybe just an early break for Garcia. Watch them coming down here into turn number 1. All of a sudden, oh no, Garcia moves. That's what happened there. Garcia was looking to the inside of Douglas coming into the corner, and he literally moved from right to left. And we'll get a chance to look at this one again before we're all said and done. The field coming around to put a lap in, but it looks like Garcia was tucking to the inside, was trying to come back across, but I would bet, and not by much, Simon Sykes was kind of right in there, probably just touched the nose of Simon Sykes. Working their way now down through into turn number 1, 2, and 3. Big brake lock up there, but that driver doesn't have a front wing. Check out that. One of the drivers, maybe a VRD car without a front wing. I'll try to pick up who that was. Indeed, hard to get the car to whoa up into the corner when you don't have that downforce coming into the corner. So as they work their way to turn number 4 and 5, let's have one more look at this incident with Garcia and Sykes. And watch Garcia looking to the left side. Yeah, he's trying to think about going down the bottom. Matt Clark way to the outside. You'll watch him come back across the racetrack, and just as he comes back across, that is going to be nose cone to rear attenuator, I would bet, as he gets into the nose of Simon Sykes. So Douglas still leads. Sykes into second there. Matt Clark running in third. So tough one there for Max Garcia, who now put his head down and start digging. Last time by, Nikita Johnson running in the 4th spot. Evagoras Papasavas in 5th. Those of you watching on the broadcast, hello to those of you around the country and around the world. I always like to say hello to those following on the USF Pro Championships app or on the YouTube channel. But we had Nikita Johnson on the broadcast with us, the pre-race show. He is lining up to do 55 laps here this afternoon. He did a 25-lapper yesterday in USF 2000. And indeed, got wrecked in the opening lap for USF Pro, so didn't get a chance to do all 30 of those laps. Today, though, he's going to hop right out of this car, USF 2000, go right into the Pro car, so it's going to be a barn burner for him as well. Let's bring Brady Golan in here, talking a little bit about the double duty, and I know Brady hasn't done double duty, but last weekend, Brady, at the Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas, it's, 83 degrees here right now. It's a warm day here in Portland. It was 111 with the heat index in race number 3 in Sunday in Texas last weekend. It wasn't double duty. You weren't running both classes, but how hard was that in the car at 111 degrees?
Oh, it was so hard. And I live in Austin. I don't know how I should have been
You're the local
doing the
driver.
best
That's
with
right.
it.
Yeah.
I should have been doing the best with the heat, and I couldn't. It was crazy.
What was the biggest? Was it concentration? Did you physically start to wear out? Obviously, I know you guys were trying to hydrate as much as you could throughout the weekend, but what was the primary thing you were battling with? Was it just the concentration?
It was, for sure, concentration was in there, but just the sheer heat alone, you could feel it. You know, we have ventilation in our helmets.
Yep.
I have a Bell helmet, and we have a ton of ventilation in there, but it's still hot air that's being blown into the helmet.
That's it.
It's crazy.
I had somebody, I think it might have been Jack Jeffers, tell me it was like getting breathing through a hot hairdryer
For sure.
in your face, right? Unbelievable.
Yes.
Lots of action happening right now. The number 14 into pit lane and back out. So that was Sam Corey. Not sure whether Sam got a drive-through or what that might have been for Sam Corey, but he came into pit lane and back out onto the racetrack. So trouble for Sam Corey. Hasn't been able to have a really strong weekend here, although we've seen good pace out of the young North Carolina driver, his first year here in USF 2000. Douglas, Sykes, and Clark. They have 1.2 seconds on Nikita Johnson, who runs in 4th. Evagoras Papasavas 5th. George Garciarce 6th. Ethan Ho, Lockie Hughes, Max Taylor, and Elliot Cox, your top 10. Cox, again, talked about the massive shunt that he had, wrecked that car pretty badly in practice yesterday morning. The team somehow was able to fix it, to Elliott even jumping in to help. They got him out onto the racetrack, dead last, just enough time to make the start of the race, and he drove it from 19th up into 10th, and that's where he runs again right now. Elliot Cox in 10th spot, just 6/10 behind Max Taylor. Both those drivers trying to dig in to see if they can't close up on Lockie Hughes a bit. They were both quicker by about a 10th from Lockie last time by. 25 laps, the distance of the race here. It'll be 30 for USF Pro 2000. That'll be next up. Good battle there, as you see, coming through turn number 1 and 2. That's Gordon Scully, Lucas Fakuri, Carson Eder, and Maxwell Jameson, 12th back to 15th, having a good scrap. See Elliot Cox right there as well behind now Al Morey. I think Morey may have got by Cox. That could be a potential battle there. Or, in fact, no, Morey's a little further back. He's 3 seconds back in 11th. He's the one that's got Gordon Scully behind him. That is actually Elliot Cox, I believe, getting by Lockie Hughes. Hughes, a multi-time winner on the season. Lockie came in still second place in points, 4 wins on the season, 1 in Sebring, Started the season with a victory in the opening round at St. Pete. Also was able to win on the road course at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and at Road America as well. Here's that fight between Carson Eder, Maxwell Jameson, and Lucas Facuri. He's racing against both of those D-Force drivers, and he's through. Carson Eder, I think, now potentially up into the 12th spot. Of course, this race here at Portland International Raceway, our one big run over to the West Coast. The series is scheduled primarily set east of the Mississippi. So many great iconic venues there, but always awesome to get out here to the Pacific Northwest. We've had many young drivers come from this area who have raced with us over the years as well. Josh Pearson, of course, being one that we saw come through the ranks. Douglas leading now by 0.7 of a second. Simon Sykes, I'm sure, would think about going to try to chase his teammate, but for Simon, he's already got the championship done. Cruise around here into second. Be huge for Jacob to get another win here. There's a chance for Douglas to sweep all 3 races here in Portland. Paps has been very good here. Of course, last year we know the championship battle in USF 2000 between Miles Rowe, Jace Denmark, and Michael D'Orlando. The Paps cars rolled out very good. They were quick, but contact coming down into the festival chicane started these races. Opened the door for Michael D'Orlando to come through and walk away with that USF 2000 championship. You saw the number 67 of Elliot Cox rolling through there, and that primarily white and orange drive planning machine for Sarah Fisher Hartman Racing Development, but there's a bunch of carbon fiber not wrapped bodywork on there. A big shunt, as I said in practice. They were able to get that car put back together. Elliot trying to see if he can't bring the team home a bunch of top 10s. 3 top 10s I think would be a good way to cap off the season for Elliot Cox. He rolls in here 13th place in points and with an opportunity to potentially work his way up into the top 10. So be a good start for the driver who ran USF Juniors last year, a single car effort here running in USF 2000 as a freshman. Field starting to stream out as you see. There's Ethan Ho in the white number 68. Behind Ethan Ho, Max Taylor in the 33, then the 67 of Cox. I think that Nikita Johnson closing up a little bit here on Matt Clark. The gap was over a second a little while back. It's only 0.8 of a second now. Nikita was actually a little over a tenth quicker on that last lap. So Johnson trying to close up to potentially get himself onto the podium. Remember, that'll be interesting. How do we do the podium if he's got to get out of the car and then get into his pro car? We may be doing the podium. He may be running over and jumping into the pro car. We have to put a little hold on him. Nikita Johnson can get on the podium here. He's still running 4th. Papa Savas in 5th. So you see them bolt across start-finish here. George Garcia-Arce having a good run here in the 6th position as well. Started 10th, so up into 6th. Solid run for Garcia-Arce. He is 8th place in the points coming into the championship here right now. Couple of 6th place finishes, one at Sebring, one at IMS. He finished 4th at Road America as well. Those are among his best finishes of the year, so could be a good way to kind of wrap up the season here for George Garcia-Arce, the Mexican who races for D-Force Racing. And Brady, that'll be a car you want to be in sooner or later, right? I know you're going USF Juniors next year, but it always happens when we have you guys in the booth. How excited are you? Maybe it's going to be 2025, but you'll probably do some testing, I would bet, in USF 2000 next year. Have you driven the 2000 car yet?
I did. I drove Mid-Ohio. I drove the 2000 at Mid-Ohio in the race.
That's
there.
right. How'd that feel?
It was a great weekend. I had pretty good pace. I wasn't feeling the best. I was pretty sick, and
that's not easy.
It was for sure my hardest race weekend. But I mean, it sees I'm in the 2000 car. It's what I want to be driving in the near future.
Indeed. All these young drivers in USF Juniors looking forward to working their way up the ladder program, see if they can't get themselves, of course, up into Indy next. That's really the key program for us here in the USF Pro Championships presented by Cooper Tires, is to try to make drivers prepped and ready to go to Indy next. If you look at the field, all but 2 drivers in the field right now of Indy next came from our program, USF, whether they came through just the USF Pro 2000 class or potentially started in USF 2000 as well. We'll see some drivers who have started in juniors. Again, that'll happen in the next couple of years. The juniors only into its 2nd season, of course.
And we saw Kiko Porto make his his Indy Next debut at Indy. That was great for him. He's a front runner in Pro 2000.
Just talking about his teammate, right, at D-Force Racing. Juven Sundermurthy as well, Francesco Pizzi. We've had a couple drivers, like you said, kind of dip their toes in the water, right, running like you did earlier this year at Mid-Ohio for USF 2000. I like that. Again, we hated to see Juven make the move completely over to the Indy Next program, but I understand it, man. He's done a bunch of racing his second year in USF Pro, and, man, solid for him today in practice. Juven for Able Motorsports was 10th. A great practice session there, and speed coming for Juven Sundermurthy, who is a race winner in USF 2000. What do you think about Kiko, though? Had a really good run on the road course at Indianapolis, and I'm sure you'll be watching next weekend when he's running at Laguna Seca.
For sure. It was incredible to see Kiko out there. I mean, he's a great person, been my teammate. He's been, I look up to all of my teammates.
I was going to ask you that. Yeah.
I look up to all my teammates, even the ones that are in my own series, like Quinn and Nico. I mean, they've helped me a lot throughout this year. Quinn, actually, when he was in Austin, he and I worked out together. And it's funny because I think we're both pretty physically fit for juniors, but we tried to do each other's workouts and we couldn't.
I love it.
It's funny.
So tell me about this a little bit. So you've got a guy like Kiko Porto, right, running in the USF Pro 2000. You don't really have many weekends together. I think Sebring was the only weekend. Oh, actually, last weekend as well at COTA. You look at Kiko as kind of the mentor right now. Is he kind of the captain of the team in terms of the drivers?
For sure, you see that. You see drivers like Nolan Siegel, who came through us, and he's running in Indy Next right now. He's doing well. I mean, it's great. It's great being surrounded by successful drivers who can help push us to our career goal.
And it's not just the team around you. Obviously, David and Ernesto Martinez. You have Mateus Lace there. But even all the drivers working together, too.
For sure.
I like it.
For sure.
Look at this battle we're seeing right now. Elliot Cox up into ninth. He's trying to put some pressure on Max Taylor right now. That could be a run here. He's going to look to the inside, pick this one up. Here comes down the bottom. Elliot Cox. He's going to swing way wide as down the inside comes Taylor. Let's see if Cox can do an over-under. He's right there on the gearbox now of Max Taylor, the VRD driver. Again, this is Cox trying to work his way up to 8th. In this race here, Cox started back in the 15th position. Look at it. The pressure he is putting on Max Taylor right now. Trying to find a way by. This is not an easy place to overtake. A lot of long duration corners where you're carrying a lot of speed, but also get a bit of aero wash where you lose that downforce off the front wing where you're tucked up in behind the driver. There's definitely a shot coming down the back straightaway to make the move to the inside, but it's not a hard-braking corner. You really have to force the issue down into turn number 10. Best passing opportunity we know under the brakes down into turn number 1, but you can see that Taylor kind of covered it off to the inside, ran that defensive line. Cox putting a bunch of pressure on him now. It's a great fight here for 8th. Up front, it's a 1-second lead for Jacob Douglas. Still a long way to go. 10 laps remain. Getting out of 12, crucial here for Elliot Cox. Here comes a big run. All about leveraging the draft. Does he get it done coming down the front straightaway? He's still a couple of car lengths back. I don't know if he's close enough even to dive to the inside. No. Thinks better of it and tucks back in again. Try to see if he can't pressure Max Taylor into a mistake. And Brady, that's something you're learning, right? When you're out there as a young driver, you're learning how to position yourself. You're learning the racecraft. Sometimes you're hunting. Sometimes you're the hunted, right? So when you're chasing somebody, you try to figure out where to pass. What's your mindset when you're getting hunted, right? It's kind of just try to hit the marks all the time.
It's very easy to lose focus when you're being hunted. I remember at COTA this past weekend, I had a pretty big gap between me and I think it was Nico and Eric Schutten. And they caught me after a while just because I kept looking in my mirrors. It's very nerve-wracking.
It is, and they'll tell you that. Don't look in your mirrors, right? Stay looking forward. But it's hard not to. They're there. You want to find out how close you are, and that's it. And that's something you learn, as we know, right? It's all about learning in our program. It is a development series. The drivers in USF Juniors coming out of maybe one of the Formula Car series like a Skip Barber Racing School or potentially coming in from top-level kart racing as well. We'll see a number of drivers come from the very top-level national racing of karting, but karting is radically different than running a Formula Car for sure. It's a much different dynamic. Am I not correct, Brady? It's so different. Phil, I'll tell you, every time we come in here, I love it because I know, Phil Martelli joined me, one of the voices of this Grand Prix of Portland. We like bringing new drivers in for you to get a chance to see some of the young drivers of our program.
I'm so impressed. I mean, not just Brady, but the gentleman you had in here yesterday.
Yeah, Nicholas.
15 years old in the juniors. I didn't catch what year did you actually start racing in any type of car?
So I've been, I started karting with a team Nash in California. I raced KA with them. I did a couple races, decent amount of testing, just not a lot of racing. So I don't think I've developed the racecraft that that some of the other drivers have, but I've been doing the best with what I have, and I've been trying to develop quick.
How old were you when you started, though, in that?
It was, it's crazy. I was pretty far off the pace in karts at first, and then it's just, you had to build pace, you had to get up to speed, good battles.
The interesting thing, Phil, and Brady, you'll say that your learning curve has been so steep, right? That's the one thing. I said to you when we first got to the first race at that spring training, you are Brady Golan right now. Wait till you are who you are when you get to September. How much different are you now than you were at the start of the season?
It's crazy. I mean, it's funny how much all of these drivers have developed,
Agreed.
Including
Yep.
me. You see Carson Etters.
Yep.
He's doing 2000 this weekend. He's been doing great. I've had battles with him in juniors, and in 2000 also at Mid-Ohio. We had a good battle. I mean, he's had a good season.
It's all about driver development, man. You guys have had great seasons. I look forward to see what Brady's going to be able to do next year. I think he'll be one of the front runners, a challenger for the championship in that category. Again, Simon Sykes, as we said, already has that championship locked and loaded. The driver out of Athens, Georgia, currently running in that second spot as he is trying to chase down his teammate Jacob Douglas. There they are right there. He is closed right back up. And we may have a battle for the final position on the podium as well. As you can see, Nikita Johnson rolling up here on Matt Clark. He's got a big run. And Evagoras Papasavos in the Jay Howard driver development, number 6, not that far back as well. So we're most definitely not done. 18 laps down. I believe 17 laps down, I think I'm seeing here on live timing. Says 18 on the screen, 17 on live timing. So 8 laps remaining, working lap number 18. So still 8 laps to go. Douglas, Sykes, Clark, Johnson, Papasavas. 7 seconds back to Garcia Arce running in 6th. Ethan Ho 7th. Max Taylor, as we know, getting challenged by Elliot Cox lap after lap after lap. That is for 8th. Al Morey holding on to his position inside the top 10. Gordon Scully 11th. Lockie Hughes has fallen back to 12th. Carson Etter 13th. Lucas Fakuri 14th. Maxwell Jameson. Ava Dobson. Sam Corey had to come into pit lane. He's back out. Max Garcia had to get repairs. He's back out. And Thomas Schrag, as we know, not able to start the race, and they were not able to figure out what happened to the car to get him back on track as well. So Thomas Schrag will have one more shot at it tomorrow afternoon to try to see if he can't salvage a deserved result here after good pace in both practice and qualifying. There's Simon Sykes right there with Jacob Douglas. I just don't see Simon Sykes trying to make any kind of aggressive move here now, although I'm sure he'd like to get the victory. Championship's already there. Probably more than happy to bring it home. Second spot to go again. Pabst Racing 1-2. Augie Pabst from Pabst Racing getting that long-awaited driver championship. They've won the team championship multiple times, but the first driver championship in USF 2000 competition. Here comes a move potentially for that 8th spot. Let's see if we have a move here coming into the corner. Indeed, Cox to the bottom, side by side. Cox trying to work the outside on Max Taylor. They're through turn 2, and Cox gets it done in turn number 3. Book it. It took 3 corners to get done, but Elliot Cox inside of turn number 1, outside of 2, inside of 3. Beautiful pass. Both those drivers giving each other room, and I would expect to see Elliot Cox bolt away a little bit here. I think he's got the pace. You're not going to see him reel in Ethan Ho. 4.4 seconds back with only 7 laps remaining. But nonetheless, what a great pass there for Elliot Cox. Couldn't ask for much more there. Very impressive.
You know, Rob, it's cool to see. It's cool to see battles in spec series where the cars are the exact same because, I mean, it's pure driver. It's not BOP. It's not nothing like that.
That's it.
It's incredible to see that between Max Taylor and Elliot Cox.
Got to give a little bit of nod to the engineers, right? Because there's a little bit of work you can do to these cars. Not a ton, but a little bit of work can be done. Preparation, of course. But, yeah, this is the whole idea. It's a spec chassis, folks. Everybody on the same Tatis, Italian-built USF 22 chassis. They all have the same engine, as mentioned before, all built and dynoed by Elite engines. The same Cooper tires all the way around. So it really is a driver series as opposed to technically between the teams running different chassis. So that's the beauty of this program. Driver development is key. As we said, laps is what we want them to get. We had one early yellow flag for Thomas Schrag, who had some kind of an electrical issue. And again, from there, we've been green all the way through. 6 more laps remain. as 19 are down. It's 2.1 seconds from Sykes back to Clark, so the top two drivers pretty much have things handled. The question is whether or not Nikita Johnson, that number 17's got what it takes to reel in Matt Clark for P3. And for me, the crazy thing right now is this race is going to be done. As tired as you are after a 25-lapper, he's going to jump back behind the wheel of the USF Pro 2000 car to see what he can do there. This will be the biggest test ever of young Nikita Johnson's career. Obviously, tried it yesterday, but got looped and spun and out of the race on the opening circuit, the opening corner. So he didn't even do 26 laps, to be honest, at speed, having finished the USF 2000 race and not got over to turn number 3 in USF Pro. So today's going to be a challenge for him if he's able to get through the festival chicane. Taking away here for Jacob Douglas, and this is one thing we see a lot, is a young driver like Jacob Douglas getting that first victory. It just takes off so much pressure. Great pass there, I think, for Carson Eder. I think he made a move by there, so Carson Eder may be up another spot as well. Eder pushing hard to work his way forward. Good job for the driver of the number 57 DC Autosport machine. But again, you get that first win. And Phil, let's come back to you real quickly here. That first victory, I know you do a lot of stuff in the sprint world as well, but when you get that first victory as a driver, number one, it proves to yourself you can get the job done. You have the confidence, and then it builds that momentum into the next one. The second win, I think, always comes a lot easier than the first one.
After that, yeah, for sure, this young man would probably know that. If not, he'll know real soon.
He will, exactly.
You're absolutely correct. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, and for Jacob Douglas, again, end of his second year. He's been struggling this year. Mid-season change in team to get a little different atmosphere, different culture, and it has worked, moving over to Pabst Racing, and it's been very strong. And look at the battle we have here through turn number 2 now. That is third, fourth, and fifth. Matt Clark digging to see if he can't find his way potentially up into the top 3 in points. We're not done yet because Lockie Hughes is having a rough one here. Hughes all the way back in the 12th position, and there's an opportunity for Nikita Johnson and Evagoras Papasavas to work their way up into second and third. Hughes, tomorrow especially, is going to be on full defense mode, trying to hold on to second place in the championship. At one point, he was battling for the title. Simon Sykes able to pull away after some incidents at Mid-Ohio. And now we find ourselves with a wide open run for second and third in the championship, and of course third, the final position on the podium here in race number 2. Temp working its way up to 85 degrees, pretty much the high of the day. We may see 86 as the mercury continues to rise, but nonetheless a gorgeous day. Blue skies, little cloud. Absolutely perfect for racing here at Portland International Raceway. Laps winding down, but I think this one's going to heat up before it's all said and done. It all depends on how aggressive we see from the 17 and Nikita Johnson. Again, he's in that battle with the championship. He's third in points. He came in 8 points behind Lockie Hughes as they run on the racetrack. If Nikita finishes in fourth, he would have 327 points. Lockie Hughes, who currently runs in 13th, would have 324 points. So indeed, Lockie Hughes or Nikita would move into a 3-point advantage, I believe, unofficially here. Matt Clark finishing third goes 309. So he's only going to be back by about, I want to say, 15 points, potentially go to third. Evagoras Papasavas is in this as well. So many different permutations. We'll get the Excel spreadsheet to find out how this one all plays out before it's all said and done. But yeah, with Lockie Hughes struggling as he is back in 13th, blows things wide open for second and third in the championship battle. It'll be 2 to go this time by for Jacob Douglas as he tries to get his second win. Pabst Racing, as we know, qualified 1, 2, 3. They rolled out of the trailer well. Max Garcia struggled a little bit here. He got the incident early as he got into it with his teammate Simon Sykes, trying to come across the bow to set up for a move on Douglas. I put him back into the tail of the field. He has fought his way now back up a bit, I believe. No, actually, that's right. He had to come in to make some – he's been fighting, but he had to come in to make some adjustments or some repairs. So he's still, I want to say, 8 laps or 6 laps, maybe 7 laps down. So number of laps down there, maybe 9 actually. He's 14 laps in the books. Everybody else is 23, so 9 laps down. They may have parked Garcia at this point. Bring it in, save the rubber. Although I'm sure they got a better set to go for tomorrow afternoon. Down the back straightaway again. Those are 2 Pabst cars looking really good. Douglas looking for race win number 2. Sykes on a Saturday cruise already crowned the series champion. Look at Nikita Johnson putting the pressure on here. You can just see the car undulate as it comes down through the bumps into turn number 10. Nikita's as close as he's been. Big run out of 12. Let's see if Johnson makes the move here. Is he ready to pounce? He's close. White flag flying here at start finish. Final lap. He'll go to the inside. Makes the move. They'll be side by side through it. Book it. He is through. Johnson goes to P3. Nikita Johnson into third. Papasava's now ready to go after Clark. And that's even going to help Nikita stretch his gap even more. I would move him up to Nikita would have third place, 330 points. Lockie would have 324. 6-point swing or 6-point advantage now for Johnson as they run on the racetrack. Matt Clark, who won here last year, coming through the chaos of the opening corner, had third, but now fourth. Now going to watch out for Evagoras Papasavas. Last lap for the Pabst racing cars, though. What a weekend it's been so far. Championship already. A win for their sophomore driver they picked up midway through the season. They'll be celebrating down in New Zealand as they work through the last couple of corners. There's third, fourth, and fifth. Leaders already on the front straightaway. Pabst Racing 1-2, and it'll be back-to-back jacks for Jacob Douglas from Pabst Racing. Another win for the Kiwi. 2 wins on the weekend. What a way to cap off the 2023 season. Can he make it 3 tomorrow afternoon? We'll see. Simon Sykes comes home in second. Nikita Johnson passing on the final circuit over to the Festival Chicane. He's able to outgun Matt Clark, who takes fourth. Evagoras Papasavas in sixth, or fifth rather. Johnson, Clark, and Papasavas all closing up in terms of where they sit in the championship battle for second, third, and fourth. I believe Lockie Hughes is going to fall back into the third spot by about 6 points. George Garcia-Arce ends up in sixth. Ethan Hose, seventh. Elliot Cox in eighth. Max Taylor, ninth. Al Morey going to round out the top 10. A good run for Morey. Started 13th. He works his way up into the top 10. There it is there, folks, your unofficial results. Jacob Douglas, once again, top of the charts in the number 23. Sykes, of course, a nice cruise on a Saturday as your current champion in the USF 2000 program. Nikita Johnson, that great move late in the run. Final lap, he gets by Matt Clark with a good move to the inside of the opening corner. Jacob Douglas, though, with the win. Phil, a little issue at the start. After that, clean running.
After that, they got the rhythm. They did great. And what you were saying is once you get that career first win, you know it's not long before the next one, but the next day.
The next one. We've seen, trust me, it opens the floodgates sometimes. When you're successful and you're starting on the pole again. I expect to see Douglas on the pole again tomorrow. If he's able to get through, it could be 3 wins. He could sweep this triple header. Brady Gold, thank you so much for joining me, man. I do appreciate it. Great to have you back here. You were in the booth with me earlier this year at Sebring, I believe. Now we have you here.
First round.
How excited are you for? I know these guys still have to cap off 2023. For you, 2024 has already started. You got to get back in the gym. You got to get back in the car for testing. How excited are you for next year?
There's that, but there's also I'm doing some other racing. I'm making my IMSA debut in 2 weeks at Indy with a former USF 2000 race winner, Cameron Shields.
That'll be pretty solid. Mm-hmm. What kind of car are you running there?
We're running with Carbon. We're running a Cayman.
There you
Porsche
go.
Cayman GT4.
Thanks for joining me, buddy. I appreciate it.
For sure.
Brady Golan, folks, out of Austin, Texas, will be running next year for D-Force Racing and USF Juniors. I'm sure we'll see him in a couple of USF 2000 races as well. Well, what a day for this driver here as he'll jump out of the car with another victory for Jacob Douglas. Back-to-back jacks here in Portland for the New Zealander. Big victory for him. And indeed, we'll Simon Sykes coming out to chat with Jacob Douglas as well. That worked probably all to plan for Pabst Racing in terms of at least the drivers up front there. Not so good for Max Garcia after the contact there. And probably have a quick look at the front wing there. I bet see or the front of the nose. Maybe a little scrape there coming across. But again, Jacob Douglas will head over, as all the drivers do after each race, having to weigh in to make sure that they make weight on the cars. There's Nikita Johnson, a great job for him. Remember, we're going to do the podium with Nikita. I wonder whether he'll come to the podium with us or he might go right back to the USF Pro car. I don't know yet. We'll see how it all plays out, but we do have the podium still to come. We're quite a ways away, I think, from the command to kind of fire things off here, which is key, which is give us a little bit, I think, more breathing room, which is solid because I know that obviously everybody ready to get rolling here. But again, we have a bit of time before we get rolling with the drivers here in USF Pro 2000. Of course, we want to give a little bit of time, as we know, for Nikita Johnson to get himself back ready to go. But, hey, bottom line is this. It was a big run there for Jacob Douglas, another victory for him as well. Time to head down to Victory Lane, folks. Don't go anywhere. We're going to run a couple of commercials here. When we get back on the live broadcast, we're going to be heading down to Victory Lane to celebrate Race 2 for USF 2000. It's always great to watch all the racing action here on the USF Pro Championships app or the YouTube channel. But if you want to really go inside with the drivers in this program here in 2023, check out The Climb, our mini documentary. Brand new episode covering the Circuit of the Americas event is now available. We're here this weekend at the Circuit of the Americas where, Formula One runs each year as well. This weekend is crucial for the drivers in USF Juniors. As we know, this is it. Triple header to wrap up the season to find out who wins the scholarship to go to USF 2000 next year. The drivers in USF Pro 2000, if you're Miles Rowe, you got a chance to win a championship. Everybody else, you have to be perfect to potentially push it through a Portland.
We're like any normal family. Just get shorter wait times because we buy and book online at discounttire.com.
So easy.
Which gives us more time for things like...
Oh, come on, Mom.
Ready? And it's all thanks to Kyle. Thank you. Get 30% shorter average wait time when you buy and book online at discounttire.com.
Let's get you taken care of.
It's your Uncle Cooper. Sure, once in a blue moon, you might need your tires for hauling a horse in a hailstorm. But most days, you're gonna need your tires for tougher things, like teaching your sister's kid how to parallel park. Thankfully, these Cooper and Duramaxes aren't just tough, they're everyday tough. Okay, there's a lot of improvement. Go with the Coopers. Cooper!
Ladies and gentlemen, time to get things underway here. Victory Lane for race number 2 for the drivers here in the USF 2000 program, all part of the Discount Tire Grand Prix of Portland. We're not going to have the driver here in third place. That was Nikita Johnson. As I said, he's jumping out of this car right into the USF Pro 2000 car. Double duty for the young 15-year-old, so it'll be a barn burner for him for sure. So indeed, no third place presenter. But let's get the guy coming home in second spot here. Kind of an easier Saturday because he won the championship yesterday. Today, all about having some fun, folks. But hands together, finishing in second spot, Simon Sykes. USF 2000 champion already crowned. Andrew Gregory, one of our guests from Discount Tire, is going to bring him a second place trophy. I'm sure that Simon could have got aggressive there potentially, but maybe not to make sure we get a good finish here for Pabst Racing. Andrew, one of our guests, as I said, from Discount Tire, going to join us here up on the podium. One more spot, though, to cap things off, folks. As we said, Nikita Johnson finishing in third. We know he's back in the car already. This gets set to go. We're only about 10 minutes away from getting things fired up for Pro. But the driver who comes in here again, folks, this is back-to-back victories. This is what we see when a guy gets his first win. He does it again today on the Saturday. Put your hands together for Jacob Douglas, winning in USF 2000. Jacob, you get that first win, takes all the pressure off. You're on the pole again. I would have to feel that this start today, maybe a lot less hectic than yesterday.
Yeah, a little bit. Having done it obviously before yesterday, leading into turn 1 and stuff, made it a bit easier. But it was a pretty long race. Simon behind me the whole time, and then I made some mistakes at the end, and he was pretty close.
Can I ask about the track a little bit? Obviously, IndyCar back out there, Indy Next was out there. Any significant change in terms of the more rubber going down?
I think for yesterday's race, there was definitely a bit more understeer. But no, that just makes it a bit more grippy. Obviously, it's a lot hotter as well, but yeah.
You get your first win yesterday. How important is it now you keep going? Do you have more momentum going into the offseason? You feel like, man, you're ready to go for 2024 already?
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to next year and carrying this momentum, through into that.
Who do you want to thank?
Massive thanks to Pabs Racing, my parents, everyone who supported me and made this happen.
You've done this before. Let's do it again. Get on top of the podium. Jacob Douglas, guys. Another win here. Let's bring that first place trophy, and he's adding to the collection. Aaron Bray, again, one of our guests from Discount Tire, going to bring that first place trophy in. And again, we talk a lot about the fact where these young drivers are able to break through and get that first win. You get the floodgates kind of open. There's that confidence. They know they can get the victory. And again, Jacob Douglas, a big win. I know that the family back home in New Zealand watching the broadcast, so I'm sure that Craig and Rowena are loving this here right now. Pabst Racing on the podium. We would have Nikita Johnson here, but he's going to try to run 55 straight laps. Nikita running 25 at USF2000, just climbed into his USF Pro 2000 car for VRD Racing. He'll get set to go for another 30 laps. That guy is going to be wiped out when this day's all said and done, but going to try to come back and do it again tomorrow. As will both of these drivers here. After the IndyCar race tomorrow, you don't need to jump in the car. Don't need to get into traffic. Just hang out with us here. Grab something cold to drink. And we've got 2 more races for you after the IndyCar main event tomorrow. And again, the drivers you'll be watching are the drivers you'll see in IndyCar the next 3, 4, 5 years. This is where the stars like a Kyle Kirkwood, all those drivers, Renus VK, they were all part of this program. David Malukas, Pato Award. I could go on and on for the drivers who have come through this USF Pro Championships to work their way into the big show, the NTT IndyCar Series. Another race still to come, USF Pro 2000 on the grid. Again, we're looking to fire them up here in a few minutes. We'll get back up with the tower. We'll try to give you the rundown of all the drivers set to go. And then again, we will get back at it for a 30-lapper for the very top rung of the USF Pro Championships. Big thank you, of course, as always, to Cooper Tires, Discount Tire as well. And here comes some of the folks that we've had here this weekend. Our Kids on Track program, sponsored by High Tide. Always bring a bunch of group of young fans out to races around the country here, and they get a chance to get up close and personal with the drivers, with the teams. Really cool opportunity to come out and have a great weekend at the track. So we always thank High Tide for their Kids on Track program. And from there, like I said, we've got champagne waiting in the wings, and once we get that rolled out, I'll head back up into the tower and we'll give you the full lineup of all 19 drivers. 18, I believe, maybe even 17. There's a couple drivers I don't think are going to make the start here for USF Pro race number 2. We may have 17 drivers in total getting ready to roll off the grid. All right, folks, let's wrap things up here for Victory Lane. The champagne's going to fly here momentarily. Time to get things back underway. As I said, the champagne will fly. I'll head back up, folks. Time to get back at it. USF Pro 2000 up next. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Rob Howden here once again, the voice of this USF Pro Championships presented by Cooper Tires. I have worked my way back up from Victory Lane to the booth overlooking start-finish line here at the Portland International Raceway, and we are about 5 minutes away from getting things fired up. So let's have a look at the grid as these drivers get set to go here in USF Pro 2000. Just like yesterday, the key right now is we have an opportunity to crown a champion here today. We'll get to him momentarily, but that is Miles Rowe. Can he get it done? He's been challenged by Kiko Porto. We'll see how it all plays out. Again, I believe 18 drivers set to roll off here right now. Starting in the 18th position will be Avery Towns in the number 95, the Texan for Exclusive Autosport. Nicholas Montiero for TJ Speed in the 32 was lined up to start 17th. I don't know whether or not he's going to make the call in the 32. Row number 8 will have Jordan Missing on the outside for Pabst Racing in the number 19. And on the inside, in his second weekend here running in USF Pro 2000, Frankie Mossman in the number 6 for Jay Howard Driver Development. Row number 7, Lindsey Brewer in the number 93 starting on the outside in the C4 Smart Energy Machine for Exclusive Autosport. Danny Dzelski, his rookie program, is testing the waters here in USF 2000, if you will. Driver we've seen this year in USF 2000, last year as well. 8 top 10s this year in USF 2000, so a good opportunity for Danny Dzelski to run the number 44 for Turn 3 Motorsports to see whether or not he's dialed in to go USF Pro 2000 racing in 2024. Row 6, Francesco Pizzi, the Italian on the outside for TJ Speed in the number 55. He'll go racing next weekend as well for Able Motorsports in the Indy Next Series. He ran at Nashville. Watch for Pizzi to try to work his way forward. He's in the middle of a championship battle, too, trying to see if he can't get himself into the top 5 in points. Pizzi starting 12th alongside Jack William Miller out of Carmel, Indiana in the number 40 for Miller Vinatieri Motorsports. He'll start in the 11th position. Up now into the top 10, row number 5 on the outside, Lucas St. Jean out of Canada, Quebec in the number 3 for Turn 3 Motorsport. He'll start 10th. And from Mexico, again, another driver battling for his position within the top 3 in the championship, Salvador de Alba from Exclusive Autosport. Work to be done in the number 91 as he starts in 9th. Row 4 will have Jace Denmark on the outside from Scottsdale, Arizona for Pabst Racing in the number 20 machine. And on the inside, it is Jonathan Brown, the Turn 3 Motorsports driver, the Irishman in the number 2, starting in 7th. Up now to row number 3. Out of Germany, running under the Albanian flag for TJ Speed, Liram Zendelli, a winner earlier this year at Road America in the number 10 for TJ Speed. He'll start 6th. And on the inside, on the podium yesterday in race number 1 of the triple header, Bajoy Garg at Atherton, California for D-Force Racing in the number 7. Garg looking to try to back up that strong podium finish from Friday. Road number 2, the 2 drivers in the middle of the championship battle right now. Kiko Porto, 2 wins in the last 3 races. The Brazilian for D-Force Racing in the number 12. We'll see him next week at Laguna Seca and Indy Next running for Cape Motorsports. But Porto, all he can do is win, get as many points as he possibly can to try to hold Miles Rowe at bay. They force Indy Pabst Racing driver, the number 99, rolls in here with a 52-point lead. I want to say 8th or better, and he's going to end up winning the championship. But a lot of it has to do with what Kiko Porto does. If Kiko doesn't win, it gives an opportunity for this driver right here, Miles Rowe, to become the first ever African-American to win an open-wheel Formula Car championship. He'll roll off from P3. 18 drivers in the field, 2 on the front row. This driver here has already put in 25 laps of racing in USF 2000 at Gulfport, Florida. He goes right from the USF 2000 car right here into the Pro 2000 car. That is Nikita Johnson for VRD Racing. Last weekend at COTA, in 100 and something degree temperatures, he ended up becoming the youngest winner ever in this USF Pro 2000 category at 15 years of age, and the first driver ever to win in USF Juniors, USF 2000, and USF Pro 2000. He'll start 2nd. But the driver they're going to chase here, who came through a crazy battle here last year in USF 2000, came into the weekend 3rd, emerged as the USF 2000 champion. He's got the USF Pro Championships livery on the car for Turn 3 Motorsports out of Hartsdale, New York. Michael D'Orlando looking to see if he can't get 2nd or 3rd in the championship. He needs to win these last 2 races. He had trouble yesterday. If he gets through cleanly, we could see him 2nd or 3rd in the title chase. But D'Orlando, all he wants to do is win here this weekend. D'Orlando and Johnson on row 1. Rowe and Porto row 2. Garg and Zendelli on row 3. Brown and Denmark row 4. De Alba and St. John row 5. Miller and Pizzi on row 6. Dzelski and Brewer row 7. Mossman and Missing row 8. Montiero and Towns on row number 9. 18 drivers set to go, and each one of them ready to fire up the engines. Let's get things underway right now, heading down to pit lane. A guest of VP Racing Fuels to give us the command, Chelsea Miller.
On behalf of everyone at VP Racing Fuels, drivers, start your engines.
Yes, there we go. There's the number 1, last year's champion in USF 2000, Michael D. Orlando. There's the 17 of Nikita Johnson, lining up to try to do 55 laps of racing around this 1.9-mile, 12-turn circuit. Again, hello to those of you who have tuned in from around the country and around the world. And as always, the big contingent from down in Brazil. Bom dia for you. Great to have you with us here today. Bajoi Garg, Liram Zandelli, everybody lining up to take at it to see who gets the win here today. It's been a D-Force lineup here in the booth as my driver analyst. Yesterday I had USF Juniors champion Nicholas Giaffoni. Just had Brady Golan in here as well, rookie in the program. Kind of a second-year driver in this series, finishing second overall in the points in USF Juniors. Joining me right now, Quinn Armstrong out of Australia. Quinn, number 1, thanks for being with us. I know you're not racing this weekend, but you're here for the banquet on Monday. What a great season for you, dude. You won a bunch of races. You put your name in the hat for a championship. You got to be happy and proud of what you did this year.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me on here, Rob. And, yeah, it was a good season looking back on it. You know, there were some high moments with the wins and a couple podiums as well on the side. For sure, wanted to win the championship.
Yeah, right.
I'm not going to lie and say I didn't. But I do look back on it, and I am pretty proud of what we achieved together as a team.
You came a long way from when I first met you at VIR last year, that first season of USF Juniors. You came over. You were running again with D-Force Racing. You think about how far you've come from then to here. Are we focusing on USF 2000 hopefully for next year?
It's would be nice for sure.
All about budget, right?
It's all about budget. I mean, it's part of the sport. It's always has been, always will be. You know, it's a big factor in everything. So I think a big part of that is forming together a budget to go run USF 2000. But wherever we end up, I do feel like we will be competitive.
All right, 100% agree with that. You've come so far in the year and a half since I first met you at VIR. Drivers getting ready to roll right down the back straightaway. We'll come to Quinn Armstrong, again, runner-up this year in USF 2000. A little later on in the broadcast, if needed, he'll be our analyst here for the show. And again, USF Pro 2000 drivers rolling out here. Miles Rowe and Kiko Porter, the 2 drivers in the championship fight. But again, Salvador de Alba, Michael D. Orlando, Liram Zandelli, all trying to get second and third as well. We'll line them up, and it's going to be time to go racing. A 30-lapper for the drivers here in this category. This is going to be a barn burner for sure. They'll line themselves up coming out of turn number 12. Time to get things underway. It was an absolute disaster of chaos coming through turn number 1 yesterday. Can they clean it up today? We'll see how it goes. Drivers will need to get on the binders a little bit earlier, not hammer so quickly into that corner. So many drivers taking the escape route, a ton of damage, and we're at it. Green, green, green for USF Pro 2000. They're rolling right now with the VP Racing Fuels Grand Prix of Portland. Big move to the inside for D. Orlando, up on top of the curbing. Did they get through cleanly? So far, so good. Everybody over the curbing coming through 2. Out of 3, it pinches on the exit as well. Much better run through the festival chicane here on a Saturday afternoon. Big start for D. Orlando. He goes out nicely, and I want to say it's Liram Zandelli, I think, up into the second spot. Zandelli goes to P2. Miles Rowe slots into third. How big would that be for Miles Rowe as he now has a P3 position? Looks to me like Kiko Portal falling back into the 5th spot. So the opening action always hectic in the first lap, although 30 laps a long distance. Tire deg definitely going to play a factor near the end of the day, end of the race here. And how about 2 wide, a little deeper back? Look at this. Jack William Miller going to run down the bottom of the racetrack. He's being challenged. Look at this. Side by side with the number 7 of Bajoi Garg. They're going at it coming down the back straightaway. We saw drivers have trouble coming through this part of the track in IndyCar and qualifying. It doesn't take that much to drop a wheel. We'll give you a full field rundown when they come across the line, but look at how hectic it is further back. Wow. And again, this is the top level of our program, USF Juniors, USF 2000, USF Pro 2000. We have higher expectations for these drivers. We expect more. They've got the experience. Many have been to Portland more than once, so they know the racetrack a little bit more. And indeed, we do have a lot of rookie drivers coming in that are maybe, again, at the end of the season, trying out the program, jumping up from USF 2000 to get a sample for next year. But for by and large, the drivers up front are veterans. There are guys that have won races. They've won championships. Michael D'Orlando, USF 2000 champion. Liam Zendelli, a winner at Road America. Miles Rowe, multi-time winner on the season. Nikita Johnson coming off a victory as well at COTA. He's won on all 3 levels of the program. Kiko Portal's a former USF 2000 champion. He's won 2 of the last 3 races. Again, you go back to Jace Denmark, a winner in USF 2000 last year. This is essentially the all-star show of the USF Pro Championship. So many of these drivers have come up through our ranks. Some come over from a series like GB3, or the FR Americas program. But indeed, these are the best of the best in terms of the USF Pro Championships. Look at how lined up they are coming out of 12. D'Orlando, I spoke to him and before the race, and he knows really all he can do is get out there, lead as many laps as he possibly can, and win this race. Fast lap would be a bonus. Nice to have the extra bonus point there. Qualified on the pole, so there's a bonus point there as well. He's trying to go max points. He's trying to get 66 points to cap it off, because if he does that, he may even find himself up into third, maybe even second in the championship, primarily third. I think second's actually under reach, but he could get to third, and that's the battle. He, De Alba, and Zendelli, all with a shot potentially at finishing third in the championship. Coming through the final couple of corners, the 6, 7, 8 combo lead back onto the straightaway through turn number 9, and we'll roll them back out here again. It was just 0.6 of a second. D'Orlando over Zendelli. He got a great start, Zendelli did, able to work his way forward. Remember, Liam Zendelli started back in 6th, but somehow came out with second. Although all the drivers gave each other room. You saw the start. D'Orlando did not roll the dice like he did yesterday, cut the course coming through and had to go to the tail of the field. He was all up against the wall, over top of the entry apex of turn number 1 to give himself lots of room to get over to turn number 2. You don't need to be on the inside at 2 to get the lead coming out of the corner, because as you come out again, you're just kind of rolling out to the outside. You're going to have the inside for 3. Field settling in. Let's come back again to Quinn Armstrong here right now. Quinn, you watched the opening couple of laps here. Overall, very similar to what we saw in USF Juniors. I would say you guys were probably the cleanest racing of all the 3 series this year. And I'm not going to throw these guys under the bus, but you guys did a great job. A lot of green to checker races in USF Juniors. But the hecticness of that start, did it remind you of any of the races throughout the year?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like a little bit in COTA we started to get a bit more chaotic for sure.
You did, yeah, end of the season.
Yeah, it's end of the season. Everyone's fighting for something. Everyone wants, has something to prove.
Yep.
Myself included. So for sure, there's instances where it can get a little bit out of hand, and, certain characteristics are in other series as well.
Based on what we saw yesterday, a much cleaner start, though, thankfully, right? There was a lot of work to be done last night. Let's say that, folks. I know that we have a shorter day today. We really had our autograph sessions earlier in the day, just the 2 races this afternoon. Same thing for tomorrow. Yesterday was a long day. Our crews were in here probably 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning for the first practice session. We went all the way to the end of the day. There were teams here probably till 10, 11 o'clock at night last night getting their cars done. So luckily they got a chance to kind of to get some rest through in the morning and then get back at it here, because a lot of work was to be done. There was so much carnage in turn number 1 and 2 through the festival at the start of yesterday's race. A ton of damage, a lot of money getting spent. People making the walk over to Carl Haas Auto to buy carbon fiber parts for sure. So watching this battle up front again, seeing what kind of a lap time we have. 8/10 now for Michael D'Orlando. Last time by, both he and Zendelli turning 10.4s, 1:10.4s. Fastest driver was actually a 1:10.3 for Nikita Johnson. He is rolling right now, Nikita. A 1:10.3 fast driver on the racetrack right now. Salvador De Alba, not sure what happened to Salvador, but he's down into 17th. All the way to the back, and he's like the 3rd or 4th fastest driver at a 1:10.5. So De Alba, not sure what happened to Salvador. Back to the tail of the field. Tough one for the Mexican again. He's trying to battle out for 3rd in the points, and the guy he's fighting with is out fronting, leading right now. So this is not playing well for De Alba in the championship battle, as he is only 18 points up on D'Orlando coming into this race. So Michael D'Orlando trying to get himself to P3 in this championship. We'll see what De Alba's able to do, though. He's got the pace to work his way back forward. Fell all the way back behind his teammates Lindsey Brewer and Avery Town. So watch him to get aggressive coming back through. He was 3.3 seconds back. His lap time of 1:10.5. So, yeah, he'll be able to get up to Brewer and Towns in I think, pretty short order. Brewer in her second year in the season and in the program here had a really good run here last year. Her pace anywhere between a half a second to a second off the leaders in her first year in this category. She's improved quite a bit throughout the year as well in that C4 Smart Energy machine. Brewer, the driver out of California. Grew up in Colorado, raced top-level shifter karts in the Superkarts USA Pro Moto Tour back in the day, the Stars of Karting days as well. Big space out in the front drivers here, not seeing kind of the battle we saw in USF 2000. Big run here, though, I think, early on for Miles Rowe because he's running in 4th spot, Kiko Porto in 5th. Anything in the top 8, I believe, locks it in for Miles Rowe. If he finishes in front of Kiko Porto, it's done. So as he runs on the racetrack, Miles Rowe would be your champion in the USF Pro 2000 category. And again, that's big. We're talking about the scholarship that would allow him to move into Indy next year, the category, and the scholarship, the Discount Tire Scholarship Program, valued over $664,000 for Miles Rowe to move up to Indy Next in 2024. And I'll tell you, there'll be a lot of eyes on that young driver to Brooklyn, New York. Could he become the first ever African-American to win an open wheel championship? We'll see. It could be today. D'Orlando came in wanting to get the championship as well, but man, it was a tough start to the season for Michael D'Orlando. Turned things around midway through, though. Almost starting with a 3rd place finish at the first round at Indianapolis, but then he won at Road America, he won at Mid-Ohio, he won in Toronto, and really struggled a bit, had a couple of rough finishes at COTA. This would be big for him to finish off strongly with a couple of race wins. Again, D'Orlando, young American, USF 2000 champion last year, really focused on trying to see if he can't keep turning heads. They struggled to put the budget together to finish the season. They are here at the finale. You don't know what's going to happen for the future for D'Orlando, but I think he's more than proved what he's able to do on the racetrack. Again, USF 2000 championship winner last year, multi-time winner here as a rookie in USF Pro. If somehow they'd be able to come up with the backing and the investors to come next year, you'd have to think he'd be the ultimate driver to go for the championship with a full season behind the belt, the experience to run in this category, this level. But as Quinn said earlier, man, this thing's so much about budget. Quinn, you know, we had Brady Golan, your teammate, on here a little bit ago for USF 2000. There's so many factors to racing. The stuff you do on the track, maybe 25 to 30% of it. It's social media, it's interviews, it's sponsors, it's the fitness side, the health nutrition side as well. But again, you can be as good as you can win all these races, but if you don't have the budget to do it, you're on the sidelines, right? So really that's something I'm sure you're learning as well, having to kind of search down sponsors and see what you can do in terms of putting together partners.
Yeah, for sure. It's a very cutthroat business, if you will. Everyone's putting in so much work behind the scenes. You know, it's what you see at the track is only really the surface of it, you know, whether they're winning or they may not even be in the top 10, whatever. I'm, you know, pretty confident that every driver is putting in so much effort behind the scenes to keep these things rolling and keep showing up to these race weekends.
So racing's like an iceberg, essentially, right?
Yeah, for sure. That's definitely a comparison you can make.
So much stuff below the surface, behind the scenes, as you said, and we talk a lot about fitness as well. We know these drivers have to dial things in. I asked Brady Golan this. I don't know if you've ever done double duty like this. What do you think about Nikita Johnson doing 25 laps in the 2000 and then jumping up to the Pro for 30 laps? That guy is going to be shattered when this day's all done.
Yeah, no, it is very impressive. I've got to admit, you know, it is a lot of driving to do, and these cars are not easy to drive. You know, the 2000 is one step, and then the USF Pro is a whole nother step. You know, I've done double duties in go-karts, but this is not comparable to a go-kart, I'm sure. You know, it's definitely a very physically demanding car, and when you add in the addition of the USF 2000 race, like literally right before, then for sure it's going to be a sore night tonight.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to have any trouble falling asleep when they get him back to the hotel. And for those of you trackside, you maybe want to know the difference between the cars you just saw, USF 2000 and USF Pro 2000. It's the same basic chassis, the same car that Quinn drives in the USF Juniors category. It's the same Pattis tub, but on this particular car, the bodywork a little bit different as we have more aerodynamics, the rear wing with a dual element rear wing, so a lot more downforce. You'll see visually the tires are a lot wider as well, a different damper package, a more aggressive braking package, and 80 more horsepower. We go from 170 horsepower in USF 2000 to 250 in these cars here in the USF Pro 2000 class. So just essentially more of everything and a lot harder to drive. No power steering in these cars, so really active in terms of the driver, the strength they need in the upper body, and not just the brute strength. You're not just talking about powerlifting. It's more sustained holds, sustained Gs. So a very specific set of workouts that they do. There are a number of different gyms that focus right on motorsports, Pit Fit being one. You see a lot of Jim Leo's program in the media. Drivers like Scott Dixon, James Hinchcliffe all work out at that. Tony Kanaan for sure as well at Pit Fit in Indianapolis. So again, the focus that these drivers have on fitness, especially coming up through the ranks. As Quinn said, every car is a little bit more in terms of the demands, strength-wise and longevity-wise. So it's interesting to see. Quinn, have you tested? How much have you driven the USF 2000 car? I'm sure you've been behind the wheel a couple of times.
Yeah, I've turned a fair amount of laps.
So how much tougher is it than the juniors car? I wouldn't say that much because it's really only about 30 more horsepower.
Yeah, I don't believe the step is too insane from the juniors to the USF 2000. I have not driven USF Pro, however, which, from what I've heard, from stories of other people that have made the step, then I've heard a lot of things about how much more physically demanding it is. The corner speeds are high. Obviously, you said no power steering, so more corner speed with no power steering.
That's it.
It just makes it way harder.
Hold on, right? Exactly that. 10 laps down, and again, think about this. We're only a third of the way through this one. These drivers are digging in hard here right now. D'Orlando, Zandelli, Johnson, Rowe, and Portal, the top 5. We may get another battle for second spot, and this is, to me, is crazy. Remember, Nikita Johnson fought so hard from 4th, got by Matt Clark on the final lap to go to 3rd to get himself onto the podium. He didn't come to that podium because he went right to his race car. There's an opportunity for him to get another podium here. He's running right now in 3rd. He already has a back-to-back 3rd place finishes if he finishes where he is on the racetrack. That would be amazing if he was able to get 2 of those, because I think that for Nikita, talk about making a huge statement. Last year ran in USF Juniors. Took him a little while to get that first victory later in the season, but he got the job done and was in the championship battle as well there. This year as a rookie in USF 2000, he's won already. Won in the opening round at St. Petersburg, his home race, as he's from nearby Gulfport, Florida. So he wins in the opening race. We see him then kind of dial things in throughout the year and really had a strong season in that category, did Nikita Johnson. Again, looking to potentially work his way into second place in points. Only the 1 win, but I want to say 6 or potentially 7 podium finishes on the season. And here he is already with a victory in USF Pro 2000 coming last week. And if he's able to turn this thing around and get a couple of podiums here today to show what he's got, this is, to me, a young driver that a lot of people are going to be looking at here. Because when you're in USF Pro, remember, you're only 2 steps away from the NTT IndyCar Series. Juniors, you're 4 or 5 steps away, right? It's a long way away. Still, lots of way to go. But these drivers here, this is where Pato Award was a couple of years ago. Kyle Kirkwood, David Malukas, Renus VK is a former USF Pro champion, as is Kirkwood, as we know. Pato Award came so close to winning the championship a number of years ago. But this is it. These drivers are right there, dialing themselves in, just getting that final little tuning before going to Indy next. That's the beauty of this program here. It gets these drivers all ready to go. They run so many IndyCar weekends that they know the tracks as well. St. Petersburg, Indianapolis, Road America, Mid-Ohio, as we know. Here at Portland, Toronto, the streets of Toronto as well. Here comes that battle further back. Nikita Johnson showing a bit of a nose to the inside of Liram Zandelli. Quinn, what do you think about Miles Rowe right now? He's P4. You might want to be on the podium, but I think for him, I'd cruise it home to P4, win that championship, and say, this is done. We're going into next racing.
Yeah, for sure. You always got to look at the risk versus reward of things. And, the position he's in at the moment is looking very good. Obviously, the points gap and margin to Kiko is quite large. So
trouble right there. So already cut you off. Trouble for Zandelli. He tried to block. He overcuts it. And in comes Nikita Johnson to go to P2. But you're right. Risk reward 100%. He didn't want to get involved in maybe the incident involved in front of him. But it's the door's kind of been open. There's Nikita Johnson rolling through to second. Zandelli now getting challenged by Rowe. This actually doesn't play well for Rowe to a certain extent because here comes Kiko Porto now. Although Rowe only needs to finish in the top 8, I believe, to secure the championship. And that's only if Kiko Porto wins. So already, once we get a couple more laps through here and D'Orlando has the most laps led, that's even easier for Rowe, because essentially Kiko needed every point possible for it even to be an 8th place finish for Rowe. So indeed, if there's trouble, although Rowe's by Rowe is by to third. Indeed, Miles Rowe has gone to P3. Zendelli goes back to fourth. Fifth is Porto. Sixth, Denmark. Seventh, Garg. Eighth, Brown. Ninth, Miller. 10th, Pizzi. So Liram Zendelli, who was running second just a lap ago, finds himself now down in fourth. And we're just closing on the halfway point. Trying to pick up fast time right now. We got a couple of drivers in the 109s. No, just one in the 109. Two, pardon me. Indeed, a 109.967 for D'Orlando, 109.965 for Miles Rowe. He has the fast lap of the race. Miles Rowe with the fast lap of the race right now, not by much over D'Orlando. These cars are going to keep getting lighter, folks, and these Cooper tires very consistent throughout the run, so expect to see a fast lap coming late in the race. Quinn, you ran on the Cooper tires all season long last year as well in the Ligier this year, in the debut of the Tatis JR23 in the USF Juniors program. You were able to run on Cooper tires. You couldn't have pressed them much harder than last weekend in the temperatures that we have. What kind of tire deg did you have at a track like COTA? 20 corners, a lot of long radius corners. Was there a lot of tire deg from start to finish?
Yeah, for sure. They were put to their limits. We found that towards those ends of those stints, your race threes at the very end when it's peak temp, the track's hot, it's greasy, as you say, long corners which, build up that temp and really work the tire. For sure there was a bit of fall off, a bit of degradation there. So it definitely was a thing you had to factor in, because if you can sort of save a little bit at the start, you might have a bit to give in the end. It's part of the game.
And there's a lot of long duration corners here. As we know, at Portland, it's a long race. Only 1.9 miles is the circuit length. So 30 laps in total for the drivers here in USF Pro. And again, that just makes it so much more impressive for Nikita Johnson, potentially doing 55 laps of racing here this afternoon. He runs P2. He was only about 0.2 of a second off of D'Orlando last time by. Still, though, fast lap belongs to Miles Rowe with a 109.965, just 0.02 of a second faster than Michael D'Orlando. D'Orlando would love that point as well. Remember, he's trying to battle it out with Salvador De Alba for third in the championship. De Alba now back up to in the 14th spot. He's been able to get by Avery Towns, Lindsey Brewer, and Frankie Mossman. De Alba last time by was 0.4 quicker than Lucas St. Jean and only 0.4 back. So watch for De Alba, I think, coming across the line now to try to make that pass as well. De Alba trying to line him up. He's right there with him. Here he is coming into the corner now. De Alba, I don't think quite close enough to get by. Potentially. Yeah, there he goes. So De Alba does get through. Salvador De Alba is by. That moves him now up into the 13th spot. We'll see if he can reel in Danny Dzelski. He was quicker by about 0.2 from Dzelski last time by. So as you start working your way forward, the drivers are a little bit quicker. I don't know how much closer or further forward Salvador De Alba can get. 1.3 up to Danny Dzelski. There's Miles Rowe, P3, as he runs on the racetrack. Unofficially would be your USF Pro 2000 champion. Came up just short last year in what was a chaotic finale here at Portland. Allowed Michael D'Orlando to emerge as the title winner to get that scholarship to come up to USF Pro. This year, though, Rowe has been impressive. How impressive? Only one finish outside the top 10 all year long, and that was an 11th. It wasn't 18th, it was 11th. That was at Mid-Ohio. After that 11th place finish in round number 10, he came right back the next day and went P1. Qualified on pole and won at Mid-Ohio. Backed it up with another win in Toronto, and then, of course, a podium yesterday in second. Looking to wrap it all up here in race number 2 of a triple header. Michael D'Orlando, again, it's just been such an up and down season. You just kind of want to see him get a couple of wins to cap the season off here in style, to have that momentum, have that calling card in the offseason. I've won a bunch of races. Michael D'Orlando coming in already 3 wins. He's won at Road America, he won at Mid-Ohio, he won at Toronto, and today could put a 4th different venue, Mid-Ohio, on the docket as well. So again, for a driver like him in the offseason, when budget's not there, he needed the scholarship last year to be able to move up to pro. Still struggled for the budget needed to cap off the season here this year. Will he be back in 2024? Will we see him potentially move to Indy next? Or will he come back to pro to try to win this championship. He would 100% be the odds-on favorite if he were to come back. Although a number of these drivers we expect to make the jump up to Indy next in 2024. A number of them are doing it already, as we know. Francesco Pizzi running next weekend at Laguna Seca for Able Motorsports. Kiko Porto running next weekend for Cape Motorsports as well. Yuvan Sundaramurthy moved mid-season to Able Motorsports. He ran Nashville, running here at Portland as well. And then, of course, next week as well for Yuvan at Laguna Seca. 2.2 seconds the lead right now for D'Orlando up on Nikita Johnson. Nikita's closing around to put in 45 laps. Still 12 to go, so maybe 43 laps so far. Man, you got to wonder whether or not he's getting tired. Quinn, what do you think? He's got to be starting to get tired.
Yeah, for sure.
Come on.
The pace still seems to be there, obviously.
Hold on. He was 3/10 quicker than D'Orlando last time by. Come on.
So maybe we're wrong, He's holding on pretty well so far, so I don't know. Maybe
it's not like Nikita's ripped or anything like that. Like he's pretty slight. He's not a big kid.
Yeah, I mean, he's younger than me, I believe. So
15 years of age, yeah.
He's 15. He's younger, so it's pretty impressive.
It is, no doubt about it. Again, he's going to be tired by the end of the day, but it's us guys like my age in your early 50s that are kind of saying, man, I'm tired watching this right now. Let's put it that way. But a great job so far for him. Excellent drive. D'Orlando, Johnson, Rose, and Deli Porto top 5. Denmark 6, Garg 7th. Jack William Miller in 8th spot. 9th, Jonathan Brown. 10th, Francesco Pizzi. Salvador de Alba is most definitely closing up on Danny Dezelski. He's now 0.3 quicker, up to only 0.8 back. There's still 10 laps to go. We may see de Alba continue to push. He was 0.3 quicker than Dezelski, a half second faster than Missig, 4 faster than Brown, and almost 2 seconds. He was 2 seconds faster than Jonathan Brown in 9th. So there is an opportunity, still lots of opportunities for Salvador de Alba. He is on salvage mode right now, trying to score as many points as he can, because he's going to be in the battle tomorrow with Michael D'Orlando for 3rd in the championship. Dezelski in the number 44 for Turn 3 Motorsports, his debut here this weekend. Didn't go well yesterday. He got a little too deep into the braking zone, I think, of turn number 1 at the start, and came into the corner. Nikita Johnson coming around, left front to right rear contact. Both drivers involved there, both drivers out. Johnson's come back to run P2. Dezelski now running in 12th. We'll keep an eye on De Alba as he's digging. Just turned his fast lap, a 109.955. Last lap, De Alba the fastest driver on the racetrack. Can he hook up on Dezelski here? I believe there's Rowe coming through. That's 3rd. Zendelli and Porto. There's Zendelli. There's Porto. Right behind them, Jace Denmark and Bajoy Garg. We'll see whether or not De Alba lining up to try to find a way by Dezelski coming down into turn number 1. He's going to have to start getting aggressive. Couple of big laps for him. No, not close enough, I think, coming in here. He'll have to go deep into the braking zone to find a way by. Just 0.3 seconds back on that last lap. You get that close, now you start playing with the aero wash. You're far enough back, you're able to come through the corners with a lot of pace. When you get closer, let's keep it here. Let's see further back. Nope, we're just waiting. Almost got it there. The minute you start getting close. And Quinn Armstrong, let's bring you back in. Quinn Armstrong from D-Force Racing, 2nd place this year in the USF Juniors Championship. A lot less downforce in the juniors cars, right? The same as USF2000. More mechanical grip than aero grip. But still, you guys deal with it with a slower horsepower car. The minute you get behind somebody, you lose that air off the front wing. You start getting that mid-corner understeer.
Yeah, for sure. We had a little bit of it. We started to encounter it at corners like Turn 1 at Mid-Ohio, the Carousel, so 16 through 18 at Coda. But I know for a fact that the aero wash in these cars is way more common and way more. It happens in corners that wouldn't happen for us in the juniors package.
Yeah, there's so much more downforce. More of everything, like I say, and a lot more downforce. And again, with that dual element rear wing as well, it gets more turbulent air at the back of the car. So you just lose that air off the front wing. You often have to move your line a bit to try to get a little bit of air over one of the end plates on the wing. De Alba, half a second back last time by. Laps ticking away. 8 more to go for Michael D'Orlando. A 1.8 second lead over Nikita Johnson. 47 laps straight now for Nikita. 8 more to go to get him to 55. There's D'Orlando. Johnson. Rowe. P3. Lots of room. 8 laps, 7 laps be it, away from a USF Pro 2000 championship. The young driver from Brooklyn, New York. What a storyline it's been. Part of the drive for quality and change. That opportunity to run with Force Indy. Will Power, when they were trying to select the driver they wanted to put in the Force Indy program a couple of years ago in USF 2000, a one-off program they ran themselves, a one-car effort. Will Power, who spends a lot of time down at what is now Trackhouse Motorplex, a kart track in Mooresville, North Carolina, looked at Miles Rowe and said, this kid's got it. This is a kid I think that has it. They put together a private test with Cape Motorsports on the road course at Indianapolis. He impressed a bunch of people. Of course, Coach Rod Reed, part of Force Indy. So, yeah, let's do it with this kid. And they made it tough on him, to be honest. I'll say this. A one-car effort back in 2020 was not easy for him. And he had to really dig in to get the job done. Last year, of course, a big run in 2021 was the first year. 2022 with Pabst Racing. Still had that Force Indy badging, but they worked with Pabst Racing, a better program for him. And he really stepped up. Did have some issues at the start of the season. Really didn't have the budget to keep going. Had a big crash at the opening round at St. Petersburg. But fought back the next race and won. That was, I think, a really good show of the character. The issue, the wreck in the race number 1, coming back in race number 2, just tremendous. From there, able to fight his way into a championship contention. That the struggle here at Portland late last year, but then still able to put the program together to run with Pabst Racing, and he has been a revelation here in 2023. 5 wins on the season, 8 podiums. This would be podium number 9, and only 1 finish outside the top 10 for Miles Rowe. That's what you do when you're trying to win a championship. And again, this championship, not just a championship. The scholarship, as we know, for this program, worth over $664,000, all part of the Discount Tire Scholarship Program. This year, USF Pro Championships presented by Cooper Tires, issuing over $1.6 million in prize money and awards across all the programs. Super excited to have these drivers as part of this program. Big thank you as well to Discount Tire. They have been a great partner here of a first year with us. If you want to be part of the nation's largest pit crew, visit discounttire.com to learn more about career opportunities throughout the United States. We'd also like to welcome the students from Portland Chinese Coalition today. They're all part of our High Tide Boat Lifts program, the Kids on Track program. Since 2015, more than 500 children and their mentors have experienced an unforgettable day at the racetrack thanks to High Tide Boat Lifts and the High Tide Boat Lifts Kids on Track program. Five laps remaining, just 5 to go. Jordan Missing putting a lot of pressure here on Francesco Pizzi. That would be for the final position inside the top 10. Missing trying to get himself by Pizzi to go to 10th spot. Again, just the laps ticking away here for Michael D'Orlando. 1.3 last time by. Nikita Johnson's been just chipping away at it. A 10th here. 1.3 seconds back right now with only 5 laps to go. There's another good scrap there as well. That is, I believe, Kiko Porto going to work on Liram Zendelli. That would be for 4th. We know that Kiko's got to do everything he can, but just where Miles Rowe is running right now, and in fact, the fact that Kiko's not going to win this race, he hasn't got the bonus points. We had said 8th was a guaranteed lock for Rowe. With Porto back where he is, it's significantly farther back. Kiko Porto running in the 5th position. That would put him at 323 points. Rowe in 3rd, 380. So that's 53 points. He only needs to be leading by 33 points at the end of this race. So as they run right now, Rowe in the hot seat. We talked to Nicholas Giaffoni yesterday, what it felt like on the cool-down lap. And even now, kind of it's soaking in that he was able to win the championship and the scholarship to move to USF 2000. Simon Sykes, I'm sure, feeling exactly the same thing. When does it actually sink in what you've been able to accomplish over the season and what it means to you for next year to be able to go racing? Michael D'Orlando felt that last year, having won here in USF 2000, topping both Jace Denmark and Miles Rowe. But this year, Miles Rowe, as I said earlier, what a difference a year makes. Coming back, there's been no issues at all. Strong run yesterday to second and potentially third here today. You do what you got to do to get where you want to go. 3 laps to go. Salvador de Alba up into 11th. He was able to get by Dzelski. Let's see where he is on lap number 27. He's by Dzelski and is now trying to chase down Francesco Pizzi. So last time by for Pizzi, let's go look at lap times. A 111.06, De Alba 110.4. 0.6 of a second difference, 2.9 seconds back, 3 laps to go. He'd have to be a full second quicker a lap to be able to challenge potentially Pizzi. So De Alba trying to get himself back into the top 10. Again, all the pressure as it stands right now will be off tomorrow on the final Sunday of the 2023 USF Pro Championships calendar. 2 more races as we come the back end of the triple header. USF 2000 champion already locked and loaded for Simon Sykes. And as it appears, as they run on the racetrack right now, Miles Rowe in the position to clinch this championship and make tomorrow all about the fight for second and third in both of the championships. Nikita Johnson not done, though, on the leader, D'Orlando. He's got it down to 0.8 of a second. We talked about fitness. We talked about how you dig hard. You're in the gym. You're going a couple more reps at the end of a set, 2 or 3 more minutes on the treadmill or whatever it may be, because you want to be good over the last couple of laps. When the drivers in front of you are starting to fall out of the seat, their fitness might not be there. You want to have the extra. Nikita Johnson is not at the end of one race. He's at the end of the second race. He's got 53 laps in the books already, and he is starting to put the pressure on D'Orlando. If the fitness side of Nikita Johnson was ever in question, he has removed all doubt. This is amazing. When he comes back around to get lap number 29 here, it'll be 54 race laps, and he is closing. What a testament to young Nikita Johnson, just 15 years of age. Can he make a move for the race win? He was a factor last year as well when he jumped up to USF 2000 for a one-off. They'll come across the line. White flag will fly this time by Johnson. It was 0.8 of a second last time by. What is it now? 0.8 last lap. Starting the penultimate or the final lap, he gets it down to 0.6. Gained 2 more tenths of a second. Truly incredible run here for Nikita Johnson. Keeps digging. Trying to force D'Orlando into that little mistake. D'Orlando's fighting for a top 3 in points. He's not giving up at all. What a race we've had here. Some good battles throughout the field. Some drivers having to dig their way back forward. Drivers up front getting it done. D'Orlando trying to get this win. Johnson digging himself back forward. Miles Rowe, though, a half a lap away from $664,000. The scholarship to go to Indy next in 2024. Coming into the end of the back straightaway. Does Nikita try it? He's not close enough. Out of this corner. Just get through 12. And indeed, the driver is going to come out here as the winner. He's challenged to the very end. Will we get a drag race to the line? We will, but it's not quite enough. Michael D'Orlando just nips Nikita Johnson at the line. He wins today, but we have a new champion in USF Pro 2000. The first ever African-American title winner in open wheel competition. Miles Rowe is your champion for 2023. What a performance for the young driver to Brooklyn, New York. It's going to be some donuts in the festival chicane. Sign your name, young man. You have just made history in open wheel motorsports. Miles Rowe in the Force Indy Pabst Racing number 95. The signature has been laid. Congratulations to Miles Rowe. What a drive. 3rd place yet another podium finish, yet another top 10. And there are your unofficial results. Michael D'Orlando with a much-needed victory to try to grab third in the championship. Nikita Johnson, 55 laps of racing, a feat in and of itself. Miles Rowe ends up in third. A championship drive for the young man who we'll see next year in Indy next. Liram Zendelli, another great run for TJ Speed. Kiko Porto coming home in the 5th spot. 6th was Jace Denmark, rather. 7th, Bajoy Garg. 8th, Jack William Miller. 9th, Jonathan Brown. And 10th, Francesco Pizzi, as De Alba closed once again to get himself right down there. Very impressive run. And again, you look at the teams as well. Michael D'Orlando, turn 3. Nikita Johnson, VRD. Miles Rowe, Pabst Racing. Liram Zendelli, TJ Speed, Kiko Porto, D-Force Racing. 5 different teams in the top 5 in USF Pro 2000. There are other championships in the world where you know you have to be with a certain team if you want to win. And that's the beauty of our program here. 5 different teams. They've all, think about the race winners as well. All of those drivers have been race winners. D'Orlando, multi-time winner. Johnson at Coda. Rowe, multi-time winner. Zendelli at Road America. Porto, both at here and at Coda. So they've all scored race wins. That's the beauty of this program, and at least one of the great aspects of it. Nonetheless, this win belongs to Michael D'Orlando, and a well-deserved victory for the young man out of Hartsdale, New York. Nikita Johnson, I can't believe what he's put in here. He's going to do it again tomorrow to try to go 55 laps. That is absolutely stellar to me. Amazing for sure. Of course, Victory Lane celebrations coming here momentarily. We're going to grab our drivers, the champions, and take them over to the media center as well. There's Miles Rowe. Digging hard to win this championship. And you think about each one of these drivers and wanting to make that next step and how crucial it is to win that championship, not only for the scholarship, but for the mark on the resume as well. Miles Rowe, again, such a historic championship. As I said before, the first African-American to win an open wheel Formula Car championship. What a drive for him. There's Augie Pabst. What a year for Augie Pabst as well. He fought so hard to try to win that first driver championship. How about 2 driver championships? Simon Sykes in USF 2000, Miles Rowe in USF Pro 2000. Crew coming in. There's Michael D'Orlando. These guys here, although fierce competitors on the racetrack, great fans off the track as well. Last year's USF 2000 champion, this year's USF Pro 2000 champion. Incredible stuff. There's Will Power right there. I told you. Will Power, who helped discover this young driver at Trackhouse Motorplex, a fantastic kart track down that Will Power runs on a regular basis. He saw him there and said, man, this is a kid we need to look at for this new program. There's Coach Rod Reed from Force Indy. They got themselves a hot rod again for next year to add to Ernie Francis in Indy next. Miles Rowe, what a story, folks. This is huge for Miles. How about that right there? A couple of Pabst Racing champions, Rowe and Sykes. And Simon Sykes is like, hey, that's the car I get to ride next year. That's huge for him. I get to drive your race car next year. He wants to follow in the footsteps for sure. But the celebration down on Victory Lane, down on pit lane rather. Everybody getting a chance to talk to Miles Rowe. This is big for this young man, big for the team as well, as Pabst Racing has come out as the dominant factor. There's Tim Cindric as well from Penske, Team Penske. Those are the guys you want to have on your corner. Miles, of course, the storyline resonating through all of motorsports. There's Jacob Douglas, 2 times a winner already. Young Max Garcia. We'll see in USF 2000 again next year. That's what we're talking about. Everybody coming. There's Tony Kasimets, engineer for the team, driver, coach, you name it. He has been around so long. Tony has a well-respected member of our paddock and, of course, the IndyCar paddock as well. It's going to be tough for Miles to work his way to Victory Lane through all the well-wishers, all the team members. But I'll tell you, well-deserved for the young driver, folks. It's time to wrap things up. We're going to go to a quick break. Those of you following here on the USF Pro Championships app and on the YouTube channel, stick with us. When we get back, we're going to celebrate the win by Michael D'Orlando and a championship for Miles Rowe.
like any normal family. We just get shorter wait times because we buy and book online at discounttire.com.
So easy.
Which gives us more time for things like...
Come on, Mom.
Ready? And it's all thanks to Kyle. Thank you. Get 30% shorter average wait time when you buy and book online at discounttire.com.
Let's get you taken care of.
It's always great to watch all the racing action here on the USF Pro Championships app or the YouTube channel. If you want to really go inside with the drivers of this program here in 2023, check out The Climb, our mini documentary. Brand new episode covering the Circuit of the Americas event is now available. We're here this weekend at the Circuit of the Americas where, Formula One runs each year as well. This weekend is crucial for the drivers in USF Juniors, as we know. This is it. Triple header to wrap up the season to find out who wins the scholarship to go to USF 2000 next year. The drivers in USF Pro 2000, if you're Miles Rowe, you got a chance to win a championship. Everybody else, you have to be perfect to potentially push it through important.
Your Uncle Cooper. Sure, once in a blue moon, you might need your tires for hauling a horse in a hailstorm. But most days, you're gonna need your tires for tougher things, like teaching your sister's kid how to parallel park. Thankfully, these Cooper and Duramaxes aren't just tough, they're everyday tough. Okay, there's a lot of improvement. Go with the Coopers. Cooper!
We're like any normal family. We just get shorter wait times because we buy and book online at discounttire.com.
So easy.
Which gives us more time for things like...
Come on, Mom.
It's ready.
Wow. Are you sure it's ready?
Oh, it's ready. And it's all thanks to Kyle. Thank you. Get 30% shorter average wait time when you buy and book online at discounttire.com.
Let's get you taken care of.
It's your Uncle Cooper. Your SUV is a multi-purpose tool, like a corkscrew fish scaler. And that means your tires should be multi-purpose too. Like these Cooper rugged Treks. They're tough, but also run smooth as butter. And with dual sidewalls, it's like having a multi-tool that can look like a completely different multi-tool. Don't take that idea, by the way. I'm gonna patent it. Go with the Coopers. Cooper!
We're like any normal family. We just get shorter wait times because we buy and book online at discounttire.com.
So easy.
Which gives us more time for things like...
Come on, Mom.
Ready? And it's all thanks to Kyle. Get 30% shorter average wait time when you buy and book online at discounttire.com.
Let's get you taken care of.
It's your Uncle Cooper.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get things underway over the drivers in USF Pro 2000, the second race of the triple header, the VP Racing Fuels Grand Prix of Portland. A special one here, of course, today, as you all know, is we have our third championship locked up. USF Juniors already Nicholas Giaffoni, USF 2000 already Simon Sykes, and we will crown our champion here in USF Pro here today as well. Finishing in third spot, he's going to be on top of the box in a couple seconds. But have a round of applause for the driver finishing in third, Miles Rowe today. It's what needed to get done to bring him his third place trophy. One of our guests from VP Racing Fuels, Chelsea Miller, is going to come in and help us here from VP Racing Fuels. Thank you, Chelsea. Hop right up there with him. Let's get a shot with Miles. Again, what a great run for Miles in third spot, getting what he needed to do. Finishing in second. I cannot talk more about this feat for this young driver. 15 years of age. He won his first race in USF Pro 2000 last weekend at COTA. The youngest driver ever to win in USF Pro 2000. He also is the first driver ever to win in Juniors 2000 and USF Pro. And today just went back to back. He just did 55 straight laps. Second place goes to Nikita Johnson from VRD Racing. That is a feat. I can't believe it. Mark Karuba, again, one of our crew here from VP Racing Fuels, is going to bring him his second place trophy. And a great drive for Nikita. And we talked about the fitness side of it as well. He literally was turning the fastest laps almost of everybody on the racetrack over the last couple of circuits. It's just an unbelievable feat for Nikita. He's a driver to watch for the championship next year. This driver, of course, here loves Portland. He won the USF 2000 championship last year. He's been running the USF Pro Championship livery all year and doing so successfully and with pride. A winner here today, folks, for Turn 3 Motorsports, Michael D'Orlando. Michael, you're not done running for third in the championship, but what a year. You know, I know you're not getting the championship, but the wins keep coming. Your fourth different venue on the season. Tell me how good it feels to be back on top of Victory Lane.
Well, first of all, huge congratulations to Mile and the Force Indy crew. You guys have been spectacular all year. And, yeah, it's been quite a feat trying to race against you guys this year. But, I mean, what a race. I know I've been having not quite the greatest season up and down the whole time, but yeah, it's nice to finally get my fourth win this season at the fourth venue. And you know, I wish it was a little easier because he was on my butt the whole time, really closing in there. But you know, car's a little hard on the tires there. But I'm super proud. You know, it would be could have been a little easier race, but I'm glad I walked away with all laps led. And you know, I'm glad to be up here back on the top step.
Yeah, we'll see if you can do it again tomorrow. Who do you want to thank today?
Huge thanks to Turn 3 Motorsports and Anderson Promotions USF Pro Championships for making this happen. Without you guys, I wouldn't be here this season. Priority Technology Holdings, I mean, and then, of course, my family, mom and dad, you guys have been through me through thick and thin, so thank you so much for everything.
For the fourth time this year, get up on top of the podium. Another win for this driver here. Great job for Michael D'Orlando. Chris Marshall from VP Racing Fuels bringing up yet another first-place trophy for this young driver. Very impressive run. Fourth different venue, as I had said. He got into a great run through the middle part of the season. He can win on any kind of racetrack. And D'Orlando looking to try to see if he can't do it again tomorrow to potentially steal away third spot in the points and give him momentum into the offseason, because it's been a tough year for him, as we've said. Some up and downs, a lot of race wins. And again, budget issues, trying to find the money to be able to run the whole entire program. Again, he is a young driver who definitely deserves to move into the Indy Next Series, but part of the motorsports landscape is finding the budget, finding the investors, the finances to be able to keep moving forward. We all know how tough that is. And again, this young American driver, no doubt about it, has shown his mettle over the last couple of years, winning USF 2000 here last year in the championship. And again, fighting tomorrow to see if he can't jump into the top three. As we know, Miles Rowe locking down that championship. That's what with a trophy that's still waiting in the wings. We'll bring that out here momentarily. But how about another round of applause for the today's top three? D'Orlando, Johnson, Rowe. Again, as I always say, these drivers here at the very top level, the USF Pro Championships presented by Cooper Tires, just 2 steps away from the NTT IndyCar Series. If you've been with us over the past couple of years, you know that Pato Award's been up here. Kyle Kirkwood, David Malukas, Renus VK, keep going through the ranks of drivers who have been on this part of this program before. Colton Herta, so many drivers who've been part of this USF Pro Championships. Let's get our VP Racing Fuel crew back up here. Again, VP Racing Fuels, the official fuels and supplier of our coolants as well. Great to be working with VP Racing Fuels. We had Bruce Hendel with us at COTA. And again, an iconic name in motorsports, part of the partnership program for the USF Pro Championships. We'll still spray some champagne before we wrap things up because, of course, we've got one more trophy waiting in the wings, as I had said. I think we've got our crew from the High Tide Kids on Track group coming in to join us as well. Love it. Hop up on top there, get another photo here with the top 3 drivers from USF Pro 2000. For those of you trackside, you don't need to leave after the NTT IndyCar Series main event race tomorrow. These drivers will be racing again after the main event tomorrow. So don't jump into the traffic. Grab yourself something cold to drink and enjoy some racing in the afternoon after the main event show. And we'll give you a chance to get out there and clear roads to get home. All right, time to bring in the bubbly. And for the penultimate time on the season, still one more shot at it tomorrow. But these drivers here, so good. Of course, reigning champion. Another driver's won a title before, and the driver could be the fighter next year. All part of it. Guys, grip it and rip it. The celebration for Michael D'Orlando. Nikita. Oh, they're like, why are you spraying me with champagne? I got to wear this suit tomorrow. They will celebrate, though, but we're not quite done yet. We have one more to go. We'll get rid of those trophies. We'll get rid of the champagne and the hats. And Miles Rowe, you can stay up on the podium here because I will come up to chat with you momentarily. A lot of work getting done, as we all know, folks, to make this happen. Let's get started here, folks. We're bringing a champion's hat up here. Miles, how about you jump to the middle part of this podium here? Take that one more step up for me. Get that hat where you need to be. I love it. Ladies and gentlemen, right now, how about a round of applause for our champion this year in USF Pro 2000? Let me jump up there with you. Let me jump up here with you. You did it. How does it feel? Last year, I know, right? It's what a difference a year makes. You tried to win the championship last year. This year, it wasn't about one weekend. It was about all the weekends. Your entire body of work, only one finish outside the top 10. Consistency got it done. Give me your emotions on winning this championship. You're going Indy Next Racing in 2024.
Yeah, I'm flustered, man. I mean, all these competitors are so tough, man. And yeah, we knew after last year, finishing second in the championship, especially being so close to taking it, that we had to start off strong. And that's exactly what we did. We put in the work, we persevered, and yeah, we came through. And it's just all thanks, to everybody that supports me, everybody that's out here, watching and pushing me on, down to my family, my mom, my dad for, putting in the blood, sweat, and tears into this. Roger Penske, Penske Entertainment, Force Indy, Paps Racing, Augie Paps, Sparko, Bell Helmets, all of the crew, NXG. Man, it's just it wouldn't be possible without them. I mean, they've really pushed me along. They've really given me such extraordinary support, and yeah, man, I'm just lost for words. It's just extraordinary to be here. It feels almost like it's a 2-year championship from trying to bounce back after last year. So yeah, it's pretty. It took a mental strain on us all, but I'm just so happy to deliver this for the team, for the Paps Racing Force Indy team, and yeah, I'm just thrilled that we get to enjoy it finally.
Miles, congratulations. We got a trophy waiting in the wings. Dan Anderson from Anderson Promotions. Let's bring up a Champions Trophy here for the new title winner of the USF Pro 2000 category, presented by Cooper Tires. Miles Rowe coming back from that battle last year, the disappointment of second here in Portland, and as I said, only one finish outside the top 10. He is your new champion, and we will see him in Indy next in 2024. The champion of the USF Pro 2000 category from Pabst Racing, Miles Rowe! And there it is, folks. The celebration will continue throughout the weekend. Those of you tuning live in on the app and the YouTube channel, thank you so much for being part of it. We'll be back tomorrow. Miles Rowe, once again, your champion here in Portland.